Ladies and gentlemen, the Sports Talk radio show with the best hair in the Upstate is live on your radio. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate, South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be back with you again. What is happening, y'all? Tremendous to be with you. I am Rob Brown. Seated directly across from me, the guy in charge of the button switches, levers, knobs, gears, pulleys, and other applicable simple machinery that keeps us not only on the air, ladies and gentlemen, but sounding as incredible as we do. The great one, the Alpha and the Omega of ESPN Upstate, hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the content cash cow himself, Lonzo on the board. What up, Zoe?
I just want to say, check us out on the ESPN Upstate Facebook page because we're live every single day. And if you wonder why I'm doing something weird at the beginning of every single broadcast, it's because it thumbnails the very beginning. And so I'm trying to predict what it's going to thumbnail me doing. So,
are you a dude who has, and I'm asking this for a reason, which I'll get to in a minute. So do you have like a set of PJs, or do you like rotate? Do you wear like pajamas for like a single night and then wash them and go to another pair the next night? I'm asking for a reason. It's not just being creepy.
I don't sleep in pajamas. I will walk around in them. I will lounge in them, but I do not sleep in them.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have learned something new today. Don't get me wrong. I'm team hashtag sleep in the buff too.
I never said that.
It was implied.
I don't.
It was implied.
Actually sleep in boxers.
I'll be honest with you. I sleep in the buff. I sleep in the nude. It's the most comfortable way to sleep. Get at me, bro. The reason I asked that question that has taken us off the rails before we were ever on them is because, we've been streaming this show for what, 6 months now? Ballpark, 7 months now? Something like that.
It's probably longer than that.
Yeah, well, we've been streaming the show for a while.
After the show's over, we can go back and find the very first one.
True story.
Unless someone out there is watching and listening, just wants to find out for us,
So we have been streaming this show for a very, very long time. And a chunk of that, a majority of that was streamed while yours truly was still working at the house at the Casa de Love. And I'm team commando when I call it a night, but I do have my lounge clothes, the clothes that I wear when I'm hanging out and about around the house. And Lonzo, please tell me you see this. That squirrel.
I can't. Okay. I can't. Your hand's in front of the screen. All right.
I'm sorry I don't have the rewind. Don't worry. It's going to be trending on Twitter in a minute. And I'm coming back to the conversation I was just having, but I've just seen something I've never seen before. We have the Olympics on USA, and we are watching women's parallel slalom snowboarding, right? Two chicks race against each other on the snowboard down the hill. And in the last race, these two were coming down the hill. These two athletes were coming down the hill. And as they got about midway down the slalom zone, a squirrel ran directly out onto the slalom in front of one of the two snowboarders who laid it down to prevent turning this squirrel into roadkill. She went down. The other athlete was trying to turn around her slalom, saw this girl go down to avoid the squirrel, which she missed by an inch, maybe. Missed this squirrel. The other girl went down, and I, to be honest with you, have zero idea how this gets scored. No idea how
do they squirrel? I don't know.
I've never seen that before.
I don't know if you can do a restart on something like that. I'm guessing an animal would be considered a part of the course, so it's your fault for not hitting the animal or avoiding the animal. I mean, it's considered a what else?
Oh, okay. It looks like this actually happened at Pyeongchang. This wasn't live.
Oh, okay.
They were giving a flashback. Here's the image Watch coming from the left side of the screen.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, that was Pyeongchang. It happened again. This is new because that's from the last one.
Yeah,
all
but
right.
She did the proper thing. She just went around it.
I mean, not by much. That squirrel was a razor blade away from getting diced in half.
It's like when a squirrel goes under your car. You know, you feel bad for the squirrel, but you don't want to wreck into a tree to avoid the squirrel. At least I don't.
Wait, so do we? I'm confused. Is this squirrel number 2, or were they just randomly like, "Hey, member win"? I'm confused. I thought
no. As what you just showed. So I'm guessing this just happened.
No, it's not though.
This is not live.
No, I know that. So they go flashback to Pyeongchang, right? So this is the Pyeongchang Olympics. So it's got the orange and red, and they've got blue down the side on this one. So I don't know if we have a new squirrel, or if they were just randomly like, hey, let's show that time that squirrel thing happened again. I don't think it is, because these women didn't go down. That lady diced around that squirrel like a ninja. But the one I just saw, all right, I'm confused now. Do we have repeat squirrels here? Is this squirrel volume 2? Do we have a new squirrel? Or is this, do we just randomly show the old squirrel? I'm so confused. All right, Lonzo, I don't ever ask you to do this, but do you mind researching this a little bit? Do you mind seeing if you can find?
So you're asking me to do my job?
Well, I mean, listen, you've
got
a thousand.
How dare you, sir?
You are running multiple radio stations while you also produce the show. I hate to put things on you. I hate to ask more than you already do, winning us awards for best sports talk radio show in the Upstate. Sorry, in the state. Let me correct that. But I'm gonna go Joe Rogan here, and Jamie, can we look that up? Is this a new squirrel? Is this a new squirrel, or is this an old squirrel? I'm so confused, and I need to know now. All right, we'll come back to that. We'll see if we can find out if this is new squirrel or repeat squirrel. Hashtag Squirrelgate, says a texter.
It's new.
It's a new squirrel.
Yes.
We do have a new squirrel.
I Googled squirrel on snowboard course 2022. And the first thing that pops up is images for squirrel on snowboard course 2022.
So the Olympic squirrel, we have a new mascot for the Olympics, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it looks like it is. Yeah, because the Pyongyang squirrel did not take out any snowboarders, but oh yeah, this is a brand new squirrel. So, ladies and gentlemen, Big Squirrel is out here trying to create chaos in the Olympics. Big Squirrel is no joke. Big Squirrel is for real. Unbelievable. The squirrels are. I did not know squirrels hated snowboarding. Had no idea.
Fared better than a bird in baseball.
Oh, Randy Johnson. One of the weirdest moments in sports when Randy Johnson plucked a dove at about 102 on the radar.
I do feel really bad for squirrels because a lot of squirrels run, because of where I live, there are a lot of animals out there. So it's usually, don't do it, squirrel. Don't do it, squirrel, because I'm not about to go off the road. Call me heartless or whatever.
Well, it's like I'm pulling for the squirrel, but not at the cost of the car.
Exactly. And I look back and hope I see it going across the road behind me rather than,
not doing that.
Squished or twirling or whatever happens when, yeah.
All right. By the way, yes, there is multiple Olympic Squirrel Twitter handles now. Olympic Squirrel has its own Twitter at this point. Anyway, I asked the question about the streaming, which that conversation's ruined. All right, I've got a set. I got my loungewear. It's my hockey jersey and joggers. And I went back and looked through all the thumbnails from when I was streaming the show from the Casa de Love Lonzo. And like 3 out of every 5 thumbnails are me in the same jersey because I did not know at the time that YouTube was cataloging these as we went along. It's anticlimactic after Olympic Squirrel.
No, and here's why it would have been better for you to wear something every day so people wouldn't think, is this just the same episode over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Although I'm sure I was wearing something different. So if it showed me also, you're good.
Olympic Squirrel, let's start the show, shall we?
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here. Scuttlebutt.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Okay, now I'm being told that there was a squirrel at these Olympics, but that the squirrel in these Olympics didn't cause chaos. It just kind of ran across in the background, and that they've confused people by going back to the Pyeongchang squirrel, and people think the Pyeongchang squirrel is the Beijing squirrel, but the Beijing squirrel did not try to take out the snowboarders. It was just kind of doing squirrel stuff in the background. I'm so confused now. I need to know the realities of Squirrelgate. Hashtag Squirrelgate.
I will effort getting the squirrel on the line so
All
we
right.
can interview the squirrel.
We'll get the real story here. We'll get the real story here. Texas says the Rob Brown Show, your only source for Squirrelgate 2022 coverage. Correct, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody else is getting to the bottom of Squirrelgate 2022 like the Rob Brown Show. That's why we win awards. ESPN hashtag Squirrelgate, and ESPN hashtag the Commando Show starring Rob and Zoe. I don't know if we're quite the dedicated to change the name yet, but I respect it.
That kind of has a ring to it, doesn't it?
Dexter says, how can you sleep in the nude? Aren't you afraid of an emergency situation? I sleep with boxer shorts with shirt and shoes next to the bed, gun in the nightstand.
By the way, it was implied, and I never said that I slept in.
No, I said I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I said I do.
I live in the woods. There's no way I'm sleeping in the nude because you never know what kind of animal might come crashing through the house that you might have to fend off. So, yeah.
Kind of jungled habitat is the compound in that you've got to worry about animals large enough that they, quote, crash through the house.
I finally identified the animals that I thought were deer this morning, but I wasn't positive because the color of their fur was kind of bearish. I saw the tails and actually saw the points this morning, so we're good. They're deer.
I do keep the joggers in the when I'm hanging out in the house, like I don't hang on the couch in the buff, right? Like I'm not a psychopath. I don't just sit around playing video games in the buff. But when it's bedtime,
are you saying you've never done that?
No, I absolutely have done that.
Okay, that's.
But it's not like that's my routine. That's more of like I just got out of the shower. I'm drip dried. The house is warm. All right, close the blinds. I'm hanging out. But thank you for getting that. But no, usually it's joggers and a hockey jersey. When it's bedtime, take off the joggers, take off the hockey jersey. I lay them on the side or on the bottom of the bed, right down on the far side of the bed on the bottom. If I'm rolling solo, if I'm not, then they go like on the floor next to the nightstand. That way, if I wake up and apparently there's a wild animal quote crashing through the house, I can go ahead and pop the bad boys on and get out. If I wake up and the house is on fire, it's like, all right, throw the pants on. It's going to take a second.
I think everyone has their comfort wear at home. I do. I have an old Ohio State jersey. The numbers are just, they're faded and ripped off and everything. And it's just real comfortable to me. If I put it on, it lets me know I'm taking it easy today.
I'm done.
Yeah.
By the way, those of you sending in text about squirrels and nuts, I want you to know I appreciate the jokes. I'm not going to read them on the air, but I appreciate the efforts. All right. Thank you very much. Item number one on the lunch breakdown is we got to fly through these things now because we have priorities, man. We have priorities. Item number one on the lunch breakdown. I did a lunch breakdown for me today, Lonzo. I'm not going to lie. I did 3 stories that I think are the top 3 stories of the day. The Super Bowl, setting up to be the most heavily bet on game ever in gambling history. Las Vegas and the American Gaming Association expect that there will be upwards of 7.61 billion with a B dollars bet on the line. And the AGA says that there is an estimated 31.4 million American adults planning to bet on Sunday's game. Now, the United States has a current population of 329 million people. Of them, about 73 million of those are considered children, about 22% of the population. When you do the math on that, you end up with an adult population of about 280 some odd million adults. 31.4 million Americans plan on betting on the game, which means which means that about 1 out of every 7.5 adults are going to be putting money on the Super Bowl, like actual money, not like fun money, like actual money down on the Super Bowl. There's no real conversation to this because I don't know if there's a place on the show for, people who think sports gambling is ethical and who think it's unethical, who like it and who don't like it. In most places, it's legal. Its popularity is growing. It's going to be legal across all 50 within the next couple of years. I have no doubt. I just find it interesting that 1 in 7 Americans, 7.5, 8 Americans, somewhere in there. I'm bad at math, so I didn't do it real quick on the fly. But about 1 in every 7 to 8 American adults is going to have money riding on the Super Bowl this Sunday. That's a big number. That's a big number for something that just 10 years ago was largely considered a, something. If you acknowledge that you gambled on sports, you sometimes got made into a bit of a pariah.
I wonder, does the game have anything to do with it? The fact that it doesn't seem like there's any clear front runner in this game?
4.5 favorites are the Rams. 4.5. You got to lay 4.5 if you pick LA, which is interesting because the heavy money's coming in on Cincinnati, honestly.
Do they get the home field? Because it is their home field.
Yeah.
Is some of those points because of that?
That's one of the things that I'm hesitant. That's one of the reasons I do not. I've got money on some prop bets. I don't have money on the line. I have no money on the game outcome because I don't know. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. Major League Baseball very, very, very quietly yesterday issued a report saying that they are, for now, does not mean it won't come back, but for now, are going to stop testing players for steroids. Right on the heels of the Hall of Fame and the debate that we had just a week and a half ago about whether or not guys like McGuire and Bonds and Sosa deserve to go into the Hall, knowing that they were PED users. Major League Baseball has now announced that for the first time in 20 years, they are going to stop testing players for steroids. The halt in testing is a result of the sports lockout that started back on December 2nd and a provision in the joint drug agreement between MLB. I love the joint drug agreement. Some of y'all out there have some joint drug agreements.
Was this written by Riddle?
Between Major League Baseball and the Players Association that states termination date and time of the program should be 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December 1st. Just last month, obviously, we had the big discussion about the Hall of Fame. We had Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens denied election to the HOF. Manram and A-Rod both served drug suspensions. Both fell well short in Hall of Fame voting. Absent fear of detection, obviously, we don't know if there is going to be a massive jump in the use of the roids by Major League Baseball players. I suspect that at some point down the line, we will see a new agreement put into place where the testing will resume. But for now, baseball has elected to hold off on steroid testing, which I find very interesting, and we will see where it goes. And finally, item number 3, Lonzo, I am going to ask you to pull the only sports clip that I have in the show audio folder today. This audio came from a podcast recorded earlier in the week, and Lonzo just rolled his eyes, which means I know that he knows what it is already.
I haven't listened to it, but the way you labeled it was in such a way so I wouldn't know.
I thought about just calling it clip 1 with no context.
That would have done it, but this, you told me who it is by doing it that way.
This clip came from a podcast earlier this week, and that is all the context I am going to give you. Here it is.
Inevitably, some quarterback's going to get hurt or not perform at the level, and it's going to start in July in training camp. It's going to go again in September and probably again in October and November. How are you going to entertain those thoughts, and would you ever consider that?
I'm just going to take things as they come. I think that's the best way to put it. And I don't think anything you never say never. And, at the same time, I know that I feel very good about my decision. So I don't know how it feels 6 months from now. Change. It most likely won't. But, I try to make the best possible decision I can in the moment, which I did this last week. And again, I think it's not looking to, reverse course. I'm definitely not looking to do that.
That, of course, is the voice of the GOAT, Tom Brady.
The voice of the guy 6 months from now, after eating a ton of cheeseburgers and ice cream sundaes, will not be in shape because he no longer has to put up that facade. He's rich. He's married to a supermodel. He doesn't have to play football anymore. He's going to eat for the next 6 months. We're going to see a fat Tom Brady, and he won't be able to come back.
So Tom Brady says, right now I'm happy with my decision, but you never know. Ladies and gentlemen, Puxatawny Phil has arisen from his slumber, and he saw a shadow, and we may get 6 more years of Brady. How about it, Zoe? Tom Brady teasing the league that there could be a comeback down the line.
If we could please get the fat Elvis version of Tom Brady, I'd be down with that.
Brady showing up looking like Jared Lorenzen after 6 months. Brady's never going to get fat. Do you know why? There's one reason Brady will never get fat, Lonzo. You know what it is?
Giselle?
Giselle. If you got a woman like Giselle and she's like, babe, you're getting a little fluffy, you live on a treadmill for about 6 months, right? Brady's diet is going to be wake up, 1 piece of lettuce, lunchtime, 1 piece of lettuce, dinner time, a half a cup of water, and 1 piece of lettuce. Because Giselle, the billionaire supermodel next to him, is Giselle. Let's just call it what it is, right? Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute from now. And when we do, got a bunch of stuff we need to talk about today. Next time it's going to be short. So I'm going to make fun of somebody because the governor of Oklahoma did 2 things. Number 1, showed exactly how deep college football passion works. And number 2, said something really silly to do so. I got that for you next. Rob Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
This upcoming Sunday, the Rams and Bengals are set to match up against each other. Furman basketball, they fall short against ETSU yesterday, losing by a 75-71 score in the loss. Jalen Slauson and Mike Bothwell each register 15 points. Furman is off for the next 4 days, back at it on Saturday.
That's a conspiracy theory worth the conspiracy music. China has trained squirrels sent out on demolition suicide missions to make sure that China gets gold. I like it. Hello, Miss Lisa. Good to see you. Welcome in. Thank you for hanging out with us, as always.
With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Golfers, the best Upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 10 premier Upstate courses.
Every time I walk by that TV, the Odyssey tone goes off. Weird.
Steven has just proposed the conspiracy theory. China is training government brainwashed squirrels in order to give themselves an advantage.
It's not a conspiracy theory. I have ninja squirrels where I live, and I completely get it and completely agree.
But could you train them to use them as a rodent army to your advantage?
All I know is they've been out to get me for a while.
You need to make friends with the ninja squirrels, Lonzo. It's the only option.
It's been war for a while. I'm making friends with no ninja squirrels.
Been war for a while. I just got the image of you standing on the front porch in the woods with a bow staff staring down an army of Evil squirrels.
They have no honor. So, if I catch one while they're not looking.
No honor. Texter says, Rob, will you ever talk sports seriously? No.
No, talk sports or talk sports seriously. Is there a comma in there?
No comma.
Oh, okay.
Will you ever talk sports seriously? So I'm working under the assumption he means like, will you ever be serious about sports? We did 2 segments this week that were serious, and I feel like that's enough, right? That's enough. We do what? We do 12 segments a day. We do 5 days a week, so we get 60 segments a week. 2 of them is like, that's like 5% of the show being serious. I feel like that's enough. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt yesterday gave his State of the State address to the Oklahoma State Legislature. And in the State of the State address, Governor Kevin Stitt decided that was the right moment to take a little jab at former Oklahoma coach Lincoln Riley. Of course, Lincoln Riley a couple of weeks ago departed Oklahoma in order to make his way out to California and take over as the head coach of the University of Southern California. Yesterday, in the State of the State address, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, Lonzo, looked at the state legislature, looked at the citizens of the great state of Oklahoma, and said to them, seriously, and I quote, can you imagine leaving a place like Norman, Oklahoma for a place like Southern California? Yes, Governor. Yes, I can. Yes, I absolutely can. Are you kidding me?
I don't know what prices are like in Oklahoma, but my understanding of California is it's very expensive.
Yes, but the salaries are higher too. I mean,
it's
definitely overinflated.
He went from being rich to being richer, so I'm sure he can afford things there.
Correct. Can you imagine leaving Norman, Oklahoma for a place like Southern California? Yes. Yes, I can, Governor. In fact, listen, I know I'm going to get some blowback on this. I can't imagine not leaving Norman, Oklahoma to live in Southern California. Even if you hate all the dirty liberals in California, I still can't imagine going, yeah, Norman, Oklahoma is a better choice.
I don't know this from experience, but it's my belief that if you're rich enough, you can go somewhere where you're not bothered by either part.
He said, can you imagine leaving Norman, Oklahoma for Southern California? Imagine it. It would be the first thing that I tried to do if I lived in Norman, Oklahoma. Now,
I've never been to Norman, Oklahoma. It might be nice there.
I mean, I'm sure it's a lovely little town.
It's probably not good this time of year, though. I'm guessing it's really cold.
Yeah,
and snowy.
I'm sure it's a beautiful little town. I'm looking at it. It's in a couple of ways, Lonzo, it almost kind of looks a little bit like Greenville, right? Like they got a nice little downtown area. It's got a couple of really tall buildings in it. But for the most part, it's just kind of.
Well, I looked it up because I'm curious. And what is Norman, Oklahoma known for? The first thing is
Oklahoma University of Oklahoma.
No, they're the home of the National Weather Center, according to Google.
Do you know why?
So they got that.
Because they have tornadoes
yes.
all the time.
Yes.
You have to not only wake up and go, golly, I'm in Oklahoma, but I'm in Oklahoma and I could die of a tornado on any given day. Just any given day.
They also have props from Wizard of Oz and Twister.
Oh, well, my goodness.
I don't know why.
I rescind everything I've ever said. I would never live Norman, Oklahoma when I have the ability to go see Dorothy's red slippers and the CGI cow that flew across the screen. Nope. I think that's the same cow.
I was going to say twice. Make sure. Yeah.
Can you imagine leaving a place like Norman, Oklahoma for a place like Southern California? I don't know that I'd pick Norman, Oklahoma in the first place, right? You got lucky to have Lincoln Riley there. I love the pot shots at the guy. I get it. I'd do the same thing if I was them. But yeah, yes, Governor. Yes, I can. I can imagine that.
If you
it'd be
live,
my goal.
if you live in Norman and you heard him say that, though, are you like, yeah, you told him, or are you like, if you looked around, it's like,
I mean, yeah, I'm sure if you love the University of Oklahoma and you love Norman, you're probably going, yeah, of course I would never leave here for Southern California, right? And again, if you're of a certain political persuasion, you're probably going, why would you? I would choose the mist of an Arctic wasteland before I picked Southern California. But yes, Gunner, of course I can imagine it. It would be the first thing that I did would be to try.
But
to leave.
if you are upset about something politically in a place, why not be a light in the darkness that is that place?
Yeah, the shining beacon on the hill.
There we go.
Right.
And you're rich and it's warm.
Of course, he's probably upset because Caleb Williams obviously left to go. Oklahoma receiver Mario Williams transferred to USC. Cornerback Latrell McCutcheon transferred to USC. Cornerback Mecky Blackman went to Colorado. Offensive lineman Bobby Haskins to Virginia. Defensive lineman Tyrone Taleni to Kansas. And Earl Barquette to TCU. So, his players are mass exodusing too.
Wait. So you're saying that college players go to a school for the coach and not for the school?
Shocking, I know. Shocking, I know. It's almost like people who say you should go play for the school, not the coach or the money. All right, maybe, I mean, in your world, that's ideal. But do you understand now why I tell you the importance of making sure you have a coach that players fall in love with? Right? I was on Mark Ryan's show. What day was his show? Last Thursday, I think. Filled in for the first hour of Mark's show. And I riled up some people, both Clemson and South Carolina fans, because I said, do you know why Shane Beamer is going to be successful at South Carolina, or at least has been successful so far? The reason he has been so successful thus far at the University of South Carolina is very simple. He's been successful thus far because he's a guy that players clearly want to be around. And he is running his program very similar, Lonzo, to the way that Dabo Swinney's running his program at Clemson, right? You hear about the Clemson family. You hear about players wanting to go there to be part of the Clemson family. We hear that all the time.
That's all well and good, but I don't think Clemson created family. I don't think there was no family before Clemson and that they're the ones who created that atmosphere. I'm sure there are schools all over the place. Yes, in this state, that's what you hear about, but I would not give Clemson the credit of the family thing.
Oh, no. I'm not giving them credit for creating it. I'm giving them credit for making their own version of it that gets players excited about
I hadn't taken a shot in a while. I felt
the need.
Felt like it was necessary.
I got you. I don't think it was a matter of, Clemson took family and create. I think it's a matter of the fact that they took the concept behind it and they made their own version of it in a way that players want to go there. Fans have been ripping Dabo for years for being corny and cheesy. I got news for you. They don't care if the players fall in love with the guy, and they have. And Shane Beamer, to his credit, by the way, has kind of taken the parts of that have worked and transferred that to South Carolina. That's where the welcome home thing came from. And it has worked, and players want to be there. That's why the transfers are coming in. Now, will that mentality have the same impact on 4- and 5-star players down the road? We'll find out. It's going to take some more time. But Shane Beamer's got one of the best 5 transfer portal classes that we've ever seen. And there is going to be, I think, a tangible benefit to that on the football field. You have got to be at a spot where players not just love the school. That's like the third most important thing right now, right? The third most important thing. Players have to love, A, the coach. They have to want to play for the coach. This is why I find it interesting that North Carolina just re-upped Mac Brown's contract for another couple of years. I genuinely don't know how players feel about Mac Brown. But Mac Brown is a guy who is, with all due respect, past his prime as a coach. Is he a guy that are going to get people excited to play for the University of North Carolina, right? Carolina, the Blue Carolina, is right on the cusp of taking a big step forward as a football program. But is Mac Brown the guy that's going to get players juiced to play there? I don't know. I don't think so. We'll see. Beamer is. Dabo is. Hell, Nick Saban is. Kirby Smart is. Ryan Day is. It matters. When the governor of Oklahoma is taking shots at the coach for leaving, it's not because, well, I'm sure it is because he thinks Norman, Oklahoma is better than Los Angeles, California. I'm sure a lot of you guys agree, and that's fine. I think he's more upset that the coach left, and then like 5 or 6 of their best players took off with him. Why? Because they want to play for Lincoln Riley. It was never about the OU on the helmet. It was about playing for a coach they believed in, both as a leader of the football team and as a leader in their career, for their career, whether it's at the college level or moving on to the pros. They believed in Lincoln Riley. They wanted to be around Lincoln Riley. When Lincoln Riley took off, they went with him. For us as fans, Lonzo, and I've said this before, for us as fans, it's very difficult to rationalize that a kid playing wearing the helmet that has our logo on it doesn't have the same love for that logo that we do, right? It shouldn't be shocking. The best players in the country go, these are my final 20 teams, my final 10 teams, my final 5 teams, my top 3 teams. Do you think that they have a passion for those schools the way that you do? Some recruits do. It's never been about the logo on the side of the helmet. And once you realize that a chunk of the kids playing at Clemson, they're not playing there because they get to put the tiger paw on the helmet. They're playing there because Clemson does great things for its players and Dabo does great things for the players. Half the kids coming in. You think Spencer Rattler has great love for the Black Sea on the side of the Garnet helmet? No. He didn't love South Carolina as a diehard Gamecock fan. He looked around and went between Beamer and what the Gamecocks are. That's going to be the best path for me between now and whatever my next step is. Once you accept that, once a school accepts that, you can start building forward in that direction. Let's take a break. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's on the 1s and 2s. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's ESPN Upstate. Happy Tuesday, Ben. Welcome in, big dog. He says they must be new, taking sports seriously, not our Rob Brown, and that's the way I like it. Well, I'm glad, man, because that's all we can do.
Wait, is there
Ben with a Borderlands shout out?
I know,
there.
I saw that. Is there a show on this station that takes sports seriously? What is that? I don't know what that is.
All comments past, present, future.
Okay. Oh. I don't know what seriously means, actually.
Because of a hamstring issue, it's unclear when he'll return. Brooklyn is on an 8-game losing streak. Super Bowl 56 between the Rams and Bengals setting up to be the most heavily bet game ever, with an estimated $7.61 billion potentially on the line, according to a survey released by the American Gaming Association. An estimated 31.4 million American adults plan to bet on the game.
From the Eagles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, Spartanburg. ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station. Mom, have you booked me for my braces yet? I'm starting middle school this year. With everything happening this summer, I don't think we have the time or even the money. Don't worry.
Don't you hate when you know the name of something, but you cannot think of it? And I don't want to look it up, and I know what it is, but I cannot think of it. Maybe if I continue to look at it, I'll remember what it is.
licensed healthcare professional today at getalump.com/me. Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7 with supplies and solutions for every industry and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Water.
I don't think he really wanted to go get water. I think he almost fell, and he's just pretending like that's the reason why he wanted to go get water.
Thousands of dollars worth of new tax credits on the table. 2, you have to file for them to make sure you get the right amount. 3, a Jackson Hewitt tax pro will help track down every credit you deserve. Tax credits for being a parent, taking care of a family, going to school, and so much more. You don't want to miss out on thousands. Jackson Hewitt knows that. Discover thousands in tax credits and get your biggest refund guaranteed. Learn more at JacksonHewitt.com.
Here at Frank's Red Hot, we put together a completely exhaustive list of essentials that will bring everyone together on game day. Number 1, Frank's Red Hot. Number 2,
Mike Golick Jr. is leaving ESPN.
Really? Or what? The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, you, the case of the Olympic Squirrel rolls on. I am intrigued to see what's next. Intrigued to see what's next. Did this squirrel, Steven on the Facebook chat at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, or on the YouTubes by searching The Rob Brown Show. Just click on The Rob Brown Show, and you can watch the stream there live. Steven said, has the Chinese government begun to train squirrels to interfere with events in order to give China an edge in said events? And I'm going to go strong possibility, Lonzo.
Well, the judges are already doing that, so why not squirrels?
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. There's been a couple of questionable judging in a couple of different events. By the way, the American women's hockey team last night unfortunately dropped a 4-2 defeat or a 4-2 loss to Canada in a game that remember, I set my alarm while we were doing the show yesterday, Lonzo, and I absolutely stayed up and watched it. Phenomenal game, but the Americans just could not finish opportunities. Had plenty of them. Canada jumped up one. The Americans came back, tied it up, and then got a second. Ended up with 2 more power play opportunities, but just could not find the back of the net. Canada's penalty kill was spectacular last night. Canada leveled it on a power play themselves. Their power play was really well done. The Americans, on the other hand, just couldn't finish opportunities. Had a bunch of pucks cross the front of the net, but just could not get anybody into the back half to finish shots. It was very disappointing. Good news for the Americans is as we head into the elimination round, they will be going in as the 2 seed. Canada now obviously is the 1 seed. So they are set up to have a rematch with Canada in the gold medal match, likely. These are the 2 powerhouses. They are the best 2 teams in this tournament so far. And if you did not watch it last night, watch the next couple of Team USA women's hockey teams. But here's the part that blew me away, Zoe. I was absolutely stunned by this. Last night, during that match between Canada and the U.S. in women's hockey, one of the referees, Lonzo, the young woman who was a referee, took a high stick right to the face, Zoe, it split her open from nose to lip. I mean, the lips separated, split her open from nose to lip. When they showed her on camera, you could see the inside of her lip. She was busted open, not like a cut, like busted open. This young woman, Lonzo, leaves the ice, back to the locker room, stitches it up, puts a Band-Aid on it. 10 minutes later, she's back on the ice officiating that game again. Did not go home. No hospital trip for me. She said, stitch me up, throw a Band-Aid on it. I'm back on the ice to finish this game. It's a job. I got to do it. Let's roll.
Wonder where they get the officials for the Olympics for something like hockey.
The federations that run the international game, and I don't know what the name of hockey's is, but the federations hire them, and they hire them internationally. I don't know where this young woman was from. What I do know is that she is a certified badass.
Well, think about it. That's kind of your Olympic moment also, being out there on the ice during the Olympics. Even though you're just the official, you're still out there during the Olympics. You don't want to miss that.
Not at all.
Yeah. So
Not at all.
It's cool she went back in there.
I got to tell you, listen, I'm not saying she's tougher than me, Lonzo. She is. She is, because I think I'd have probably gone ahead and called it a night, right? I think I'd have gone ahead and called it a night. I'm good.
Not me. I'd have been right back in there.
Man. I got to tell you, this young woman took a stick to the noggin. Now, I've never taken a stick to the face. I have been playfully love tapped by a hockey stick before, right? Like little brother decided to give me one across the back of the knees while we're playing roller derby ball, or what is it? Roller hockey, whatever they used to call it. It does not feel good. Now, I have, Lonzo, and you can't see the scar because it's covered up by this sad excuse for a mustache. I took a golf club that split the lip open one day. I got a scar right here from where it happened. Not as bad as this woman had it, but I took a driver to the lip. My cousin was swinging a golf club around like he was a ninja with a katana.
So you weren't there when Tiger got found out and inadvertently took it.
No. I did not get Elin Nordegrim's 7-iron to the face. I took a golf club to the face, and it hurt like hell. You know how as you get older, your childhood memories get a little phasey, a little fuzzy. You kind of start to forget some things that happened. I will never forget the day on Shalimar Point Drive that my cousin Josh popped me in the lip with a driver and split me from here to here. And granted, I was like 7. But I remember I was done. I was like, nope, I'm not doing anything. This lady went to the back, got stitched up, slapped a Band-Aid on it, got back on the ice, and went right back to it. Did not put a visor on. She could have put a visor on the front of her helmet, right? She could have put a cage or a glass visor on the front of her helmet. Nope. She went back out there helmeted with just the eye visor on and ran the rest of that game like, well, I mean, it was her job, but like it was her job.
See, you just made me think of something. And as I get older, I'm doing this more and more. I don't think you ever forget where your scars come from, no matter how long ago it was when they happened. Because every scar I have, I can tell you where I got them from and when it was and how old I was.
Sure. But I've got a few. I got one on the left shin where a metal baseball spike went through it. I got the one on the lip from the golf club. I got the scar tissue on the left thumb from where all my ligaments and tendons popped junior year of football. This lady is never going to forget that story, right? Never going to forget that story. Yeah, I remember officiating what would go on to become the gold medal de facto match between Team USA and Canada. Took a stick to the lip, split it open from nostril to tooth, and then got back out there and finished the game. Certified G, bona fide stud. Let's take a break, come back, wrap up hour 1 on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Can you do the thing for me? I got to jump in. It's me, but
home the first Super Bowl title in franchise history? Or will the Rams win on their home turf in SoFi Stadium? Tune in to find out. If it's Super Bowl 56, it's right here. Sunday afternoon starting at 2 on your home for the Super Bowl, ESPN Upstate.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters and the game in a time. The type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to compensate for theirs at home. This is mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Hi, it's Gary David back with Travis Benson, owner of CNT Foundations. Travis, what should homeowners with a foundation problem do?
First, Gary, don't ignore it. Next.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Adam, I can think of some baseball players that they'd have called it a week after getting the lip split. This lady, absolute G. Hockey folks are a different mentality, dude. I made it, since those of you on stream were asking.
He also has an 8-foot reach, so he's really like only throwing it a foot.
It's only one arm, so it's like 3.5. I'd say it's, yeah, I probably don't have that far to shoot. But I do have to go over the table.
There is an obstacle. Yes, there is.
I got to go over the table.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, the unicorn of cleaning.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. I'll be with you shortly. Carrie, how many appointments did you get?
Jin's physical therapy clinic is pretty stretched. He needs another PT before patients get bent out of shape. Indeed can help him hire a
I wonder how much pressure that puts on your ankles riding the edge of that blade.
Someone is tough, man.
Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Winning trophy hosts. Sorry, trophy winning hosts. Named the best sports talk show in South Carolina. The Star Award-winning Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. How serious do you take this? Kyler Murray. I love that Lonzo laughs at this before I even say it. Kyler Murray has unfollowed the Arizona Cardinals across all of his social media and has scrubbed his social media of all images of Kyler Murray in Arizona Cardinals gear. He left 2 images up. One of them was out of uniform, and one of them was from the Pro Bowl, where he took a picture with, I think it was, who was it? Des Bryant, I think. But he has unfollowed the Arizona Cardinals across all aspects of social media and scrubbed all images of him in Cardinals gear from social media. You know, it's one of those things that when I read it last night, Lonzo, I went, this is dumb. And then the more I thought about it, the more I went, this is the new age of players expressing disappointment with the team, right? This is how they do it now. And considering how big of an influence social media is, especially for younger athletes, I got to think, if you're the Cardinals, you're freaking out right now, right? Like, you're freaking out a little bit.
What's he going to do? I mean, I know, is his contract up? I mean, is he going to pout and not play? I mean, I don't know.
It's interesting. Because
and why is he? I mean,
I would like to know what he's ticked about.
Yeah.
You don't listen. As somebody who's a millennial, you don't wipe somebody from your social media unless you are done with them, right? Like, I still come across stuff on my social media from ex-girlfriends and whatnot, and I'm like, whatever, who cares? This is, I'm intrigued. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update powered by The Score. I hope you join us for the Super Bowl. We are your home for the big game this upcoming Sunday.
No, it's wrong with me, but I'm just picturing him at his computer on his table like this. I'll show them.
Sitting on a stack of phone books.
Yeah. Hadn't heard that he was disgruntled for any reason, but I saw that this morning when I forget. I think I saw it on Twitter or something. It was like, okay, that's interesting. Even I, as a grandpa, understand the importance of unfriending and unfollowing.
It's a big deal.
Yes.
We heard Christian McCaffrey's going to be on the trading block. Of course he is. He's got $41 million left on his account. Never plays. You don't think for a second that if the Carolina Panthers could get a first, hell, a second-round pick for Christian McCaffrey today with a team that's willing to pick up the rest of his tab and he's gone, they would cut their losses so fast you could not even blink. And it's not that Christian McCaffrey.
I bet I could blink.
Some people blink really slow.
I'm so good at blinking.
Some people
I've
blink
practiced my whole life.
extremely slow.
ESPN Upstate. Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts. We'll make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it is all in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today. All the sports you love. Listen to ESPN Upstate. Morning. Check this out. For an official Rob Brown lockdown.
Yeah.
Unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on ESPN Upstate.
Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate, South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be back with you. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me is the great one, Lonzo. Phone lines open, 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. That is the phone number to be a part of the program and come on the air with us. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. And, of course, start your text with ESPN. We'll read them on the air. You can also join us on the Facebook stream at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/ESPN Upstate. Or if you have the YouTube app on your tablet, on your phone, or on your smart TV, grab the YouTube app and find the Rob Brown Show channel. And once you do, you can go there and watch the stream as well. Put it up on your TV like the couple of legendary broadcasters that we think that we are. Glad to have you along for the ride. I've just been informed. Steven has just chimed in on the Facebook page. He says, update on Squirrel Gate. A cross-eyed lady named Janice White trained her squirrel to attack her husband. So with China's resources, shrug emoji. Can we find out about Janice White, the squirrel assassin trainer? I'm mighty curious. Mighty curious. I need to know about this.
I'm not. She probably lives in Lawrence County. So, I don't want to cross her.
If you're listening, Janice White, please know that we are not anti-squirrel in any way, shape, or form, except when they run in front of the car. Not even anti-squirrel at that point. I'm not running the Jeep off the road to save a squirrel, It's not going to happen. Janice, I need to know if that's real, Stephen. I need resources here. I need resources here. All right. A lot more stuff that we need to get to on the radio broadcast today. I talked a little bit about this. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to switch to this story because I didn't know this was happening. The Chicago Cubs, Lonzo, are one of the highest profile, what's the word I'm looking for here? valued sports teams in America. They're always inside the top 5 in terms of overall value. Well, the Chicago Cubs are currently in discussions, as it stands right now, to potentially begin their own streaming network. That is to say, if you are a Cubs fan, you would be able to, should your little heart desire, pay the Chicago Cubs directly in order to stream every Cubs game directly to your house. They are in talks with media giant Sinclair Broadcasting to launch a streaming service for customers without a cable or TV subscription, despite pushback from Major League Baseball, which we'll get into in just a moment from now. According to the New York Post, in a deal that insiders say could have league-wide implications, the Cubs and Sinclair are angling to launch the new service following a tough round of negotiations with cable TV giant Comcast more than a year ago, which resulted in capping monthly fees for the Marquee Sports Network. Marquee is half owned by Sinclair and half owned by the Chicago Cubs. The partnership there places the Cubs amongst one of the most valuable franchises in all of American sports, certainly baseball. The team, if this deal was to go through, could begin broadcasting their games directly to consumers in a move that some experts say might create a situation where other teams follow suit. Suffice to say, some of these teams would then begin restricting the rights to broadcast their games on any service that's not their own streaming service. So if you're a Cubs fan, you could get the Cubs network, which would carry the games. I'm assuming it would also carry team-specific shows, manager shows, ownership shows. You know, maybe you do a little ESPN Upstate or a little ESPN Classic action in there somewhere where you have throwback games and throwback series broadcasted, etc. And initially I went, man, I don't know about it. I don't know about this. I don't know if it's good for baseball. I don't know if it'd be good for the individual franchises. But then I started thinking about it from my fan side of my brain, right? From the fan side of the brain. One of the biggest complaints that a lot of us have had with baseball over the years is the fact that it is, in many times, certain situations, it can be tough to find your games, right? If the Braves aren't playing on ESPN and they're being carried by Bally Sports, it can be tough to find Braves games, up to and including towards the end of the season when they're making a run at the playoffs. Lonzo, you're a Chiefs fan. And fortunately for you, the Chiefs have been good, which means that the Chiefs very frequently are featured on national broadcast, right? You're getting the AFC games on CBS, and the Chiefs get a lot of primetime playoff game or primetime highlight games because they are a Super Bowl favorite pretty much every year for the past half a decade or so. But let's say your team was, as the Cubs are, good but not great, right? They're in the race for a championship, but they're far from a favorite every year. If your team offered a team-specific network that carried all the games, but also had manager shows, coaches shows, and throwback shows, and fan-specific shows, they carried a show like ours, but it only talked about your team, etc., would you add that to your list of streaming services that you'd be willing to pay for?
Yeah, I would. Let's say Ohio State did that. I would do that for sure and get rid of the Big Ten network so I don't have to watch Michigan. I mean, or any other team that I don't want to watch, and I could specifically watch the team that I'm a fan of. Same with the Chiefs. Same with is this the future of sports broadcasting as far as games go? I kind of hope it is, but networks probably won't like it very much.
I gotta think that it is, right? Like, I gotta think that this is the direction we're headed, because you had the conference networks pop up, right? The Big Ten net, the SEC net, the ACC net.
Yeah, I'm paying extra for the Big Ten network, or I was, And I think it's now been brought into the entire package, but we specifically went out and bought that because of Ohio State. And I think the question is, if you could do that, then networks like that would have to go away, because people are going to specifically go, yeah, I don't want the whole network. I just want my team.
I'm a little intrigued by this for two reasons. The first is the price tag that Sinclair is putting on it. According to sources via, again, the New York Post, according to sources, Sinclair is planning on charging $18 a month for a team-specific stream.
For baseball, that's not bad, because how many games are you getting in a month?
Yeah.
I mean, with as many games as they play.
More than I watch Disney Plus, for sure. Which is what? $9 a month right now? 10, something like that. Netflix is like 14, Hulu's like $9.99, which I pay for all of them. And as my better half pointed out a few days ago, I rarely use them, right? Disney Plus was used primarily in the last 6 months to catch her up on the Marvel Cinematic Universe and to watch the specials, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch.
For the most part, I have all those services pretty much to watch one thing on each one of them.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the realm of possibility to get a network specific or a stream specific to a team.
Tell you right now, $18 a month, I will get rid of one of those other streaming services. And if there was a Atlanta Braves specific broadcasting stream, right? And this is likely going to be a stream, but you can roll it up through your Xbox, put it on your TV. If there was an Atlanta Braves specific streaming channel where I could get every Braves game, especially coming off a World Series win, I'd pay $18 a month for it during baseball season. I don't know that I'd pay for it in the off season, but I would without a doubt, I would pay for it in the regular season. Without thinking twice, I'd pay for it in the regular season. Major League Baseball seems to be against this. Seems to be against it. Major League Baseball, according to sources and insiders, is claiming that the reason they're against it is that the $18 a month price tag, they think it's too high. Sinclair says they think that they can get customers to pay $18 a month, especially as they add more team-specific streams into the package, right? So what I want to know about this, and I have not been able to find this yet. What I want to know about this is what the stream is going to look like, right? Is this going to be like you just mount a camera on the press box over home plate, or is this going to be like a full-scale TV production of games? I assume that it would. It's going to go, by the way, through Bally Sports Network, who's what we were just talking about. They are saying that once they get the rights to more games and they're able to broadcast more games, that they think $18 a month is probably going to work out to be fair. Now, in a story that kind of went undetected for the most part, last month, Sinclair announced a one-year deal with the NBA. And through that deal, Sinclair is allowed this season to air games for 16 teams of the 30 directly to fans. One of those teams that is included is the Golden State Warriors. The National Hockey League agreed back in December to a four-year deal for 12 teams to have games streamed by Sinclair. So this is not unprecedented. This is not new. But I do think with the NBA agreeing to a deal, with the NHL agreeing to a 4-year deal, that it is basically inevitable at this point, right? It's basically inevitable. Now, the reason that this is getting pushed, I think, is that the value of regional sports networks have effectively plummeted since these streaming networks started going up. Sinclair, back in 2019, cut a huge deal with Fox. That was what started the displeasure between Braves fans and Sinclair / Bally, because it made it very difficult to find these games. but when it happened and people started getting on board and jumping on board with it, the premise of regional sports networks, right? Fox Sports South, the Yes Network, or NES, or whatever it's called, the New England Sports Network. The value of those networks effectively started plummeting, and it has been primarily because teams have been able to negotiate their own broadcasting fees with regional sports networks. And as games have become more widely available through streaming services, they basically created a situation where teams were charging huge numbers to regional sports networks, and the regional sports networks, which is where, at least back in my day, that's where you used to watch your baseball team play, was on the regional networks, right? Like you used to watch what at Fox Sports South or whatever the previous iteration of it was. And that's how you watched your baseball. And that's kind of gone away. And streaming is the future at this point. But again, if you're going to charge me $18 a month for it, I expect it to be good. I expect to get the same quality broadcast that I do when a game is on ESPN or a game is on Fox Sports or whatever it is. One MLB team owner, according to the New York Post, who required anonymity to talk about it, used an NFL metaphor to describe what they consider to be a dire outlook for Sinclair's baseball streaming, what they are calling Diamond Sport, saying the company is facing fourth down with 30 to go. And while there's chances that they can create significant new value from streaming services, they believe it is a long shot, going so far as to say they believe that Diamond Sport will likely end up going bankrupt even after a partial refinancing of its debt that allowed the deal with the NBA. And because of that fear, baseball is not getting on board. So teams at this point, teams are effectively allowed to start to negotiate their own deals in order to pull this off. But I do think, Lonzo, as you just pointed out a minute ago, I kind of think this is the future, right? Now, the question for me is, I'm a Braves fan. As a fan, away from the radio, I'm a Braves guy. But I'm a baseball fan. I will acknowledge that every season I probably watch 50 Braves games and probably 50 other games entirely. And it's ordinarily whenever there is a matchup of two playoff teams that might have an impact on where the Braves get seeded, etc. Or if somebody is in the midst of a, 15-game hitting streak, I might settle in if there's a Tuesday night where I'm not doing anything and watch that. $18 a month to guarantee me, Lonzo, access to every Braves game. I'd probably keep the YouTube TV and whatever the national games are, the nights the Braves aren't playing, maybe I'll tune in and watch those. But for $18 a month, if I get every Braves game, I'm 100% in. And I think that's the direction we're going. The question is, am I going to start losing access to national games if I do this?
See, that's the problem. That's the downside of this. If you start losing that, then you're stuck with only watching your team. And if you're a fan of the sport, then you start missing out that way. I don't know that games on TV will ever completely go away. But that definitely would be a downside to it.
100%. And that is the downside to it, right? If we get to the point where these streaming subscriptions start cutting into the availability of national games, right? Because if Yankees go out and the Red Sox both go out and they both negotiate streaming deals with exclusivity clauses in them, well, if we get down to the last game of the year, Yankees at Red Sox, winner takes the AL East, loser goes home or to the last wild card spot. And there is exclusivity on these team streaming services. That's a game that I, as a baseball fan, want to watch. Not a Braves fan, a baseball fan want to watch. If those types of games stop having national prominence, does it hurt the sport? You might get more viewers who go, yeah, I'll do $18 a month to watch my team. But is it going to hurt the sport if playoff races towards the end of the season can't be shown because of exclusivity broadcasting rights on streams? So if I want to watch that Yankees-Red Sox game, I either got to give one of those two teams $18, or maybe they start doing and I could be interested by this too. Maybe they start doing something where it's like $4.99 to watch a single game, right? If it's not on ESPN, but I want to watch Yankees-Red Sox, I might drop $5 down to watch that game if it's a playoff race or something like that.
That sort of thing will start adding up after a while, though. And I think that's been tried before as far as games on a pay-per-view type thing. I don't think that works real well. The $18 is a good deal because of all the streaming services that are out there. But if you start doing it by a single game, I don't know how well that'll do.
844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN is the number. Be a part of the program. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're back after this. My name is Rob Brown. Lonzo's at the helm. This is ESPN Upstate.
QC.
dynamic of this country. At a time when we are sitting here and discussing with great discouragement how much that remains a part of our culture today, but it really begins to tell the story of the grace and the class and the brilliance of his career and his life.
Get Brady weekdays 10 to noon on ESPN Upstate. Text us anytime.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Alonzo, and you. We were talking about streaming services, and I'm curious, you as a fan, A, are you interested in paying a little bit extra, a little more cheddar for a team-specific stream, right? A team-specific stream. Like you're a Panthers fan. If the Panthers offered a Panthers streaming service, right? And on the Panther streaming service, they carry the games. Maybe they gave you some practices, obviously during like training camp, they would do shows live from camp, maybe do a Matt Rule coaches show once a week. They bring on the radio play-by-play guy, whoever's going to replace McMixon, et cetera, et cetera. They offer that. A, would you be interested in it? And B, what would you pay for it? I was thinking about it during the break. And we talked about baseball because, I had heard about the deal with the NFL. I'd heard about the deal with the NHL, but it really didn't really register to me that these things were going to be team specific, right? Because the NBA has, I think, 16 teams. The NHL has 12 that are involved in these things. And I thought that they were effectively creating something like an NFL Red Zone package, right? Like you subscribe to this streaming service. And it's kind of like a red zone thing where it's not really like team specific. You get coverage of all the teams that are involved. But from what I'm gathering here, it seems more along the lines. It seems more along the lines of these are team specific streams that will carry team specific games on a continuing basis. And I got to tell you, I think during seasons, right? During seasons, I'd pop $20 down a month. If I got even for the NFL, right? We get 17 games. I think I'd throw down $20 a month for 5 months or 4 months or whatever it is in total with the playoffs, where I got dedicated Saints games, right? Because there were a couple of times this year where I was working under the assumption that Fox was going to show, and again, I don't know. I don't think I'd get in trouble for this. I've got YouTube TV at the house, right? And I have got my YouTube TV set up with my zip code being listed as my old address. It's not my Greenville address. I have my YouTube TV set up to where my zip code is my old address because obviously wherever you log in from, it shows you the local channels for there. And in my address, we're a Saints market. So on Sundays, every Saints game, for the most part, is shown on Fox Sports. But there have been, in the last couple of years, late in the year, when the Saints were either eliminated from the playoffs or there was a bigger playoff race game, Fox would bump the Saints. It happened this year. I think either week 16 or 17, the Saints on Fox, even in a Saints market, got bumped for that Dallas-Arizona game. So I went out to the watering hole across the street from the Casa de Love, expecting that I was going to get to see the Saints. Nope, not on. Went back to the house, put it on YouTube TV. Nope, you don't get Saints. I think it was actually the Saints-Panthers game. I could be wrong. But they bumped everywhere except in the markets of a couple of teams. They bumped everything in favor of Dallas versus Arizona. And it kind of created a situation where I'm like, I don't know, man. $20 a month, I don't have to worry about that problem. I know no matter where I am, I can just log into my computer, my Xbox or whatever, and I'm guaranteed the Saints game. And you're going to add a coach's show. And you're going to add maybe practice coverage and maybe you go get the local radio guy to do a show. I'm in, right? I'm in. But then I thought about it, well, as a football guy, right? Because the NFL maybe more than any other sport. With the NBA, I follow the Pelicans. I watch as many Pelicans games, but I think the Pelicans got like 9 national televised games here, and all 9 of them were games we were up against powerhouses and going to get slaughtered, right? But if there's a Pelicans network, if there's a Pelicans streaming network where I can get every Pelicans game, as opposed to risking my computer going to shady websites to stream them illegally, which I definitely don't do, I'd pay $20 a month for that. 81 games, $20 a month. Yeah, I'm here for it. But Texter says ESPN, until Bally Sports can cast something on my TV that doesn't look like it's from the 80s and it actually takes up the entire screen, I wouldn't pay extra for anything that they have. And that's part of it for me. Because if you're going to give me, if you are going to give me a broadcast quality that looks like it's like 3 pixels on my screen, then no. I'll just go to Twitch and find the guy who's streaming the game on Twitch, right? But I got to think, as the Olympics coverage shifts primarily from being on NBC around the clock to on Peacock, I got to assume that with WWE moving most of its content, some of it over to Hulu, some of it to Peacock, including the pay-per-views, we're kind of at a point where we're recreating cable with sports. It's just all digital now. It's all online now, right? Instead of flipping around on TV and ordering pay-per-views and having to have the 375 channel TV subscription to get all the sports channels, now you're just ordering them one by one on a streaming subscription basis. And I wonder if that's good or bad for sport. I really do. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. I got a few more things that I want to get into on the radio broadcast today, including a follow-up on what's happening out on the plains, the loveliest little village of Opelika, Alabama. Brian Harson's name is back in the news. We'll talk about that. We've got a medal count update on where we stand at the Olympics right now. NBA trade deadline is Thursday, and there are some big moves that have been made, including the Pelicans, as a matter of fact, and some big moves that are coming down the pipe. We'll tell you what those are when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate. An Odyssey station. Whether it's a bad kick, nagging back pain, or a hip that has you hobbling, nothing matters more than getting you back to feeling your best. As South Carolina's most preferred orthopedic provider and official team doctors for the Gamecocks and Tigers, Prisma Health provides all the gear you need. With more expertise, more technology, and more locations closer to you, we're doing even more to help you be your healthiest you.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive Viagra is available in generic form, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED for a fraction of the cost. And Hims makes it extra affordable. The generic form of Viagra has the same active ingredient, but is 90% cheaper. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to 4hims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations to get your prescription. Hims connects you to medical providers online who can evaluate you and, if appropriate, prescribe your ED medication. Then a certified pharmacy sends it right to your door. Hims makes it affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to, and that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this.
Keegan, he did watch a couple of things. No Boba Fett, though. He watched a couple episodes of Peacemaker.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria, touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24. The sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So I heard you.
Get help managing your money for the last 10 years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and help you build a flexible plan for cash flow designed to last, so you can go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE SIPC.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
While the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team gold medal victory is known as the Miracle on Ice, the 1960 team was considered just as big of an event. Team USA beat the top 4 seeds, Canada, the Soviet Union, Sweden, and Czechoslovakia twice. In their final game of the tournament, they found themselves down 4-3 to Czechoslovakia after 2 periods. They scored 6 straight goals in the third period to win 9-4 to win the gold.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
When there's a chance for gold, you need to have the right people in the right positions. That's why when you post a job for free, LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 770 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to only the most qualified candidates, which means you can start hiring the right people faster. Go to linkedin.com/sports and post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. It is the end of an era in Portland with the breakup of the Blazers' backcourt of C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting the Trailblazers have agreed to trade McCollum along with Larry Nance Jr. and Tony Snell to the Pelicans. The package New Orleans is sending to Portland includes Josh Hart, a protected 2022 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. The Nets will be without all 3 of their big 3 tonight versus the Celtics. James Harden out with hamstring tightness. Kevin Durant remains sidelined by a sprained MCL.
Was that for The Witcher, I assume?
Because he hasn't complied with New York City's COVID-19 vaccine mandate.
Yeah, it builds to it, and even the reveal at the end. But the reveal at the end may not mean as much to you, Stephen, if you haven't read the books or played the games, especially Witcher 2. The reveal, you would know who that person is.
Let's see what else we got in here. I'll answer the rest of the questions on the stream when we come back. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. Thank you for joining us. We are keeping an eye on the developing situation on the plains at Auburn. I do have to chuckle a little bit. Yesterday afternoon, Zoe, and this is a compliment, by the way. This is a compliment. Yesterday afternoon, I was cruising some Auburn message boards because I am a bit of a sadist. And when I see teams enter crisis, I like to go see what the fans are freaking out over, right?
So you're not trolling. You're just
no. I don't participate.
No participation.
No, I'm not
okay.
a troll.
All
I
right,
don't participate. I like to go. I like to go read. I like to go see what's going on. I like to see what the conversation's about between fans, and that's including my own. Alvin Kamara got arrested after the Pro Bowl for allegedly beating a dude's ass in an elevator in a nightclub in Las Vegas. Broke the dude's orbital bone, him and his posse, and he's in big trouble. Not only could be facing a 6-game suspension from the NFL for his involvement, depending on the outcome of the investigation by both the police and the NFL, he could be facing between 1 and 15 years in jail over that assault and battery. We'll see how it plays out. But I go read message boards. Yesterday, Zoe, I went to an Auburn message board that has grown in popularity the last couple of years via a bunch of Twitter followers. As I went yesterday to go look at the message boards, I saw multiple comments from people, Lonzo, from Auburn fans saying, we should go hire Shane Beamer. I saw one in particular that said, and I'm paraphrasing because I didn't think to screenshot the actual message, but it was along the lines of, Beamer's doing good things at South Carolina right now, and no matter what angle you attack it from, Auburn is a step up from South Carolina. Beamer would jump at the opportunity to come here. You think that's true, Zoe? A, that Auburn is a definite step up from South Carolina no matter how you slice it, and B, that Beamer would jump at the opportunity to go there.
Maybe 5 years ago? I mean, how often do you hear Auburn being mentioned in the national championship hunt or as a team to beat in the SEC West. You just don't anymore. I mean, historically, you probably could say yes, but why would Beamer has a decent year and everybody wants him? What are they going to do if he doubles his win total this year at South Carolina? They'll be knocking down the door.
Look, if Shane Beamer pulls that off, right? Like theoretically, if Shane Beamer ends up in a spot where next year South Carolina is a 9-win team. Hey, let's get crazy, a 10-win team. Yeah, down the line, he's going to start getting phone calls from top-tier talent. Now, do I think that Auburn is a better job than South Carolina? You'd have to, I don't think that I could say that from every angle it is. Does Auburn have better facilities? Yes. Do they probably do better with boosters, financial input to the program? Yes. Are the fans better? I've been to an Auburn game number of years ago, post Cam Newton, but I've been to an Auburn game. It's a good fan base. Good fan base. They turn up, they turn out. But I saw what South Carolina, granted they got it handed to them, but I saw what South Carolina was. I saw what Willie B was. That Saturday night they played Clemson at home. I don't know that I would say they are better fans. There may be more of them, but I don't know that I'd say they're better fans. I don't know that I'd say that Jordan-Hare Stadium is a better place to play. I don't know that I'd say that Opelika is a better college city than Columbia, right? But if I'm a coach, there's only a couple of those factors that matter, and Auburn may very well be a better job than South Carolina from the factors that genuinely influence a coach. That is to say, proximity to recruits, competition for recruits, financial backing from boosters, etc. A lot of those are things that Auburn probably is better at than South Carolina. I don't know Shane Beamer. I've never had a personal conversation with him. You can't know a guy's heart. I don't think you know a guy's heart even if you know him really well sometimes. We've all been deked before. Doesn't strike me as a guy that's leaving South Carolina to go to Auburn. Now, Brian Harson, as his name has been going out, remember, we talked about this earlier in the week. Brian Harson is a guy that there have been a lot of questions about. His ability to perform, how he treats players within the program. A number of players have spoken out and said that he does not treat them with respect, et cetera, et cetera. But I got into thinking about this a little bit last night, Lonzo. We've seen a couple of players that have come out and say he treats us with disrespect. But I have not seen any specific examples so far, right? I've seen some players, like 3, come out and go, he treats us like dogs. He's disrespectful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I haven't seen any specific examples. And remember, and granted, it's the NFL, so it's a different scenario, different situation. But when Urban Meyer was acting a clown in Jacksonville, we started getting specific examples. He called the coaches losers. He kicked his former kicker and told him, your only job is to make blanking field goals or whatever he said. We started getting specific examples. We haven't heard any of that regarding Brian Harson. We also have heard the obvious rumors about his off-the-field impropriety, but nobody's confirmed that, right? And you guys know how social media works. Don Henley said, give us dirty laundry. That song holds weight, even today, right? He just switched it from we get our info from the evening news to we get our info from Twitter. But there's been very little in terms of confirmation of some of the more egregious claims about this cat, although Auburn did say that they were launching an investigation. I'm just intrigued by this scenario because you got a coach that there are some guys saying not a great dude, but he's got the same amount of players, if not more, coming out and going, hey, man, if you don't have the mentality required to play for this guy, that's on you, not him, but he's a winner. You got all this talk about the potential of there being an affair with a very young woman while he's married, but nobody's confirmed that yet, right? Nobody's confirmed that. It's been allegations predominantly and not much else. I mean, it just kind of is what it is at this point. But Auburn fans are freaking out. The fan base has been divided, like polarized. You got a good chunk of the fan base that's saying, hey, yo, we want this dude gone immediately. And we got a good chunk of the fan base that's going, y'all got to calm down. It's a bunch of smoke and no fire so far. Let's relax. It's very intriguing to see this fan base split this way.
You got to put yourself in the player's position. If he is being abusive and it doesn't look like he's going anywhere, you're probably not going to speak out because you don't want the repercussions of that. Because if someone's an abusive coach and he finds out you said something, you're probably going to pay for it in some way, even if it's just running extra sprints or something. So I get that maybe some guys are not speaking out because fear of that. But the fact that it's so split, usually when it's bad, everyone says it's really bad. And the fact that you're not getting that, I'm trying to recall, other than Urban Meyer, what's the most, this is a whole lot of stink about something and it's not substantiated. So it's just a bunch of hearsay.
I mean, it is a bunch of hearsay. You're right. It is a bunch of hearsay. And we have seen rumors get blown well out of proportion on social media that turn out to be hearsay. But there's also a lot of times social media has been the first to, quote, break a story, end quote, and it's turned out to be right. It's turned out to be a thing. I'm not saying this is or isn't. I'm saying the polarization of the fan base over it, I just find it interesting. I'm not even really taking a side because I don't know, right? I wasn't blown away by his first year as the coach at Auburn. He didn't, I wasn't like, somebody texted a minute ago, said, what was so impressive about Beamer's first year? They beat two overrated and deflated SEC teams and lost to Mizzou, Kentucky, Tennessee, and got waxed by an average Clemson, not to mention barely beating Vandy Troy in East Carolina. I'm confused. To me, what was impressive about Shane Beamer.
You notice how the Clemson fan kind of masked but by saying average Clemson team in there, so people wouldn't think that it was actually a Clemson fan that was texting that. That was pretty clever.
What was impressive to me about Beamer's first year was not the results on the field. I mean, it was the results on the field. It was a plus 500 year, which we set the goal at 500. It was a good bowl win over a good North Carolina team in a border state rivalry. What was impressive to me was the change in attitude about this team. Lonzo, about halfway through that season, South Carolina fans seemed a little bit down towards the end of the season. Going into the Clemson game, we had South Carolina fans calling this show telling us we're about to beat Clemson. We're back. We're on high. We're riding it. We got and there was an electricity about that program that hasn't been there under Will Muschamp in a couple of years. There was an electricity that the fans wanted back in. And that's what's impressive. Now I'll see if they can hold that going into next year. Auburn, I got Auburn friends too. None of them were excited. Right? They were excited the night of the Iron Bowl when they had Alabama. If Tank Bigsby doesn't run out of bounds on that last possession and goes down in bounds, Auburn wins that game.
When the coaching searches were out there, every year you get a list of names. Well, this guy will be great for this. This guy will be great for this. Harson's name was on a lot of lists.
Yep.
And had he coached somewhere before? Was this the first place he's ever coached ever in his entire life?
No.
Okay. So usually if someone is a certain way as a coach, it kind of comes with them. It follows them. You hear about these things happening other places they've been. And this is the first we've heard about this. And maybe that has a whole lot to do with half the fan base not believing it and the fact that he's still there because You didn't hear about this coming in unless he masked it real well from all his other stops. And you can't do that in this day and age. Now, maybe he suddenly like hit his head and became a monster. I don't know. But it seems to me if he's been this way with all these things that we would have heard of it before now.
Yeah, you're right. But also, who's paying attention to the Boise State head coach, right? So ever since the Fiesta Bowl, who's paying attention to the Boise State head coach?
The Boise State coach is doing things that are getting, in local media and then pushing it to national media, we would notice.
Maybe.
If he's as bad as he's being depicted to be by some at Auburn, that usually doesn't just happen. That's a pattern that's been there all along.
Fair enough. All right, let's take a break. A texter says, how did Urban mask his issues for so long? Because he had everybody in Columbus, he had everybody in Gainesville afraid of him.
Here's how you don't need to mask when you win.
Yeah, but winning helps.
Yeah,
You can hide a lot behind national championship trophies.
Yeah, winning helps a lot.
Yeah. You can hide a lot of drama behind national championship trophies. But the other aspect was in Gainesville and Columbus, when you have that power because you've got championship trophies shielding you, you can be a jerk and people are afraid of you because at the end of the day, if you are bringing the school trophies, you have almost limitless power on campus. If Brian Harson had 2 national championships in his back pocket, this would not be a story. This would not be a deal. That's how. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Hey.
Harley?
No, it's me.
Oh, it's you.
Pills and disbelief at just how crazy fast the delivery came right to your door.
Get your same-day prescription refill today on the Walgreens app. To use same-day Rx delivery or 1 to 2 business day delivery, you must be opted into prescription sites. So rental will appear as an option for orders before an express cutoff time for the day. Certain health plans do not cover participate in same-day Rx delivery. Check with your health plan for further details. Excludes California.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours?
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24, the sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
Hi, I'm Flo from Progressive. If you love the sports like me, you get annoyed with your team or player. So Progressive's going to help take your mind off your team or that player for a moment. Instead of thinking about how they lost.
We only have about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Letting you compare our direct rate side by side with competitors to easily find the lowest option. Don't worry, your sports ball team or player will get it next time. Hope this distraction from Progressive about easily comparing rates was helpful to you think about that last game or match or season. I mean, even though I love sports ball.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone. More details at AutoZone.com.
This report is sponsored by Freedom Plasma. Did you know blood plasma collected by Freedom Plasma is used for several life-saving therapies? And did you know you could earn hundreds of dollars safely donating yours? Go to freedomplasma.com or call 864-377-8115. Start earning cash and saving lives.
Dispensing real, unfiltered.
All right, folks, wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show. Remember, this Sunday, we are your home exclusively for Super Bowl coverage from opening whistle to final whistle. Screwed that up. From a kickoff to final whistle. That's what I meant. It's all live right here on ESPN Upstate. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show, the third, the final, the best, the money hour goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate, South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. Great to be back with you once again as we steam full speed ahead towards the end of the show.
Are we steaming? Aren't we beyond?
Right along,
aren't we
buddy.
beyond steam though? I mean, haven't we moved into this century and we're like?
Are you upset that my metaphor is using a steam engine?
Well,
I don't know what the other word would be. We are fusioning our way through the third hour. It doesn't ring.
I kind of like that though.
We are cold through the third hour.
Our way. Let's just go
We don't
beyond.
have warp drive yet, though.
Yeah, but we will.
I hope that'd be awesome. Hashtag science. I just don't think we're there yet. Right? So what else would I use but steaming full speed ahead?
I'm just saying, warping sounds cooler and it works better for us.
No, because a warp theoretically just takes you from A to B. If I was going to warp ahead, it would go, ladies and gentlemen, warping through the third hour. And thanks for listening, everybody. See you tomorrow. That would be a warp.
You're right. That works better for other parts of the day.
Right. I would like to warp through the after portion of the show, right? Like just walk into the
You mean think tank and all that kind of stuff. You just want to.
I would love to be able to go, man, I got this extra job, which is definitely not connected to this job that I love, that I don't feel like putting up with. So I'm just going to warp on through that and it's done. Like that would be phenomenal. I don't want to warp through the third hour of the show. I think steam is great. Because with a steam engine, you got to put an effort, right? You got to shovel coal. You got to stoke the fire. It means you're working to make sure it's a good journey.
See, here's the problem with this. Now I can't use the metaphor as to what I just did. I can't say I derailed the show because we're back to steam if I do that.
I don't know how I stay employed. I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I don't know how I stay employed. I'm doing my best, though. The harbinger of NFL football death, ladies and gentlemen. Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall, has rejoined the program. He who asked me, hey, bud, how are the Saints doing? And then my head coach retired, did it again. And I haven't told you this, but Friday afternoon jokingly says, how are the Saints doing? Because, haha, LOL. Well, Chris, because you don't know, Sunday afternoon after the Pro Bowl, my star running back and best player got arrested for beating a dude's ass at an elevator in a Vegas hotel, breaking his orbital bone, and now faces 1 to 15 years in jail. So if you could do me a favor and never talk to me about football again, I'd appreciate it.
You know, if I could if it didn't affect you so much, I wouldn't do it. But because I get the reaction that I do, that's what I crave.
So last year, there was a point where the Superdome roof caught on fire, just lit on fire, just a big chunk of the roof lit on fire. It was either last year or the year before. And now I'm trying to like warp back in time to see, did Chris ask me how the Saints were doing that day? Because if you did, you've got some sort of connection with the evil power.
This is one of the things that's always fascinated me about sports fans is how they think one single thing, apart from anything else that happens in the universe, has affected their team. They think that the team won or lost the game because of something that they did. They wore the wrong clothing or the
my
wrong
girlfriend
sock
washed
or
the lucky jersey.
Exactly.
Washed all the luck out of it.
It's your fault. I also love how people who are humongous sports fans feel like they're part of the team. They talk about the team as we. Yeah. And you just, we, the Saints, we just lost our star running back because he got arrested, which, by the way, is the correct response for beating somebody's ass and breaking his face.
I am not saying he should not have been. I'm just saying he did.
Right. Yes. But you take it personally. And I find that fascinating. It happened to you. It didn't happen to him or the team. It happened to you, Rob.
Here's what I know. Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall.
I wish this was a real fight because I'd have front row.
Has twice in the past 2 weeks said to me, hey, man, how are the Saints doing? The first time as a joke, And my head coach
No,
just...
the first time because I was
No, sorry, the first time real
curious.
time. Yeah, the first time was real.
And you were wearing a Saints sweatshirt.
I was.
As you pointed out, because it's cold outside. And that's a fair reason to wear it. But I noticed you were wearing
That's the
gear.
number one
And
reason
I
to
know-
wear it.
Yes, absolutely. But I know that people wear their team's gear when something's happening, when a big game's coming up,
Sure.
or you've just finished a big game or something like that. And I didn't know. So I asked. I was taking an interest in
You were.
Rob.
No. Of small talk. Okay. You throw some.
His point, the second time I asked you, it was a bit of a joke, but then we had a really interesting conversation about it.
Sure. And
then your star running back.
And
got
then my Pro Bowl running back
got arrested.
Beat a dude's ass in an elevator and is probably never going to play for my team
The
again.
question is, did the dude deserve it?
So you want the story? Because I
absolutely.
I
love
spent this
hearing your
morning.
stories, Rob.
There was
I listen to your show.
No one ever. So the police report, well, parts of the police report came out. And from what I've been able to gauge, this is kind of how it happened. So early Sunday morning, Alvin Kamara was at a hotel restaurant. It's Vegas. Everything's a hotel restaurant. And he and a couple of his boys and his girlfriend were either getting into or out of an elevator. I don't remember which one, but there was an elevator. And there was another guy. And the guy was talking smack for whatever reason to Kamara's little posse. The guy said, and I don't know how this even comes up, and as a grown male, I don't know how you do anything but laugh at this, but the guy called one of Kamara's friends, not the girlfriend, one of his bro friends, ugly. You're ugly. Kamara said something back to him, and the guy said, now, not a great move, not saying he deserved it, because he didn't, but not a great move, looked at Kamara, an NFL running back, and said, I'll beat your ass too. Now, I want Lonzo's thought on this, but if you tell a young buck to his face after insulting his friend, and I'll beat your ass too, for a lot of dudes, it's go time, right? Like for a lot of dudes,
that's a challenge.
That's a go time, right? Like, all right, we better find out, ain't we? Kamara pushed the guy, or I didn't hit him, pushed him. The guy came back, pushed him again. Then a couple of Kamara's boys started walloping on him. Now, this is where Kamara's story and the report/video evidence start to have some disagreements. Tape don't lie, but it also doesn't tell the whole story in this case. Kamara pushed the guy came back, Kamara pushed him again. One or two of Kamara's boys started punching the guy. At this point, the guy fell to the ground with his he turned around shielding himself and he fell. Kamara hits him on the way down. And then once the guy is going to the ground, Kamara puts another couple of shots on him. Then Kamara's boys start beating the hell out of him while he's laying on the ground. And this is where I found the picture of the guy. The dude's face was jacked, swollen, broken orbital bone, which is what goes around your eyeball. The guy was jacked up. And Kamara says, I hit him when he turned around because I thought he was running away from us. And one of my other guys was on the other side of him. So I thought he was maybe going after that guy. And that's why I hit him. He's full of crap. All right. The guy did turn his back, but he went to the ground. You got to stop at that point. Because at that point, I can say, all right, this was a crime of stupidity. The dude looked at a guy and said, your friend's ugly. I'm going to beat your ass. People are drunk in Vegas. Fights happen. I've seen a bunch. I was in Vegas 4 days. I saw 7 fights. It's going to happen. But when the dude went all the way to the ground and you put a couple more shots on him, now it's assault and battery, dude. Now it's assault and battery. I think he probably could have had a valid self-defense claim to some degree if he tried to push the guy back, right? If you push the dude away from you, if there's an altercation and you push the guy away from you, and then the dude comes back towards you, I think it's fair to assume an attack at that point, right? I have now cleared the area of you, not violently. You are now coming back to me. I think fairly assume I'm going to go ahead and get the first lick in case that's what you're coming to do. But when the dude went to the ground and you popped him a couple more times, that's where you lost that. The point of all of this is that Chris asked me again on Friday how my Saints were doing, and now our Pro Bowl running back's going to jail.
Let me just point something out. It's called situational awareness, knowing who you are, where you are, and why you're there, and thinking about, okay, if I do this, what's it going to cost me? Why would he's in Vegas for whatever reason? Does he have a bunch of hangers on? Do those guys actually have jobs, or are they just there because you're rich? And if you're hanging out with those kind of guys, this is the kind of thing that always seems to happen. So it's okay. It's there was an alarm on the Enterprise.
That was the engineering.
Yeah. There was an alarm on the Enterprise. And excellent tone. But you need to know who you are, why you're there, and what are the repercussions if you do something. If he just walked away, yeah, his guys, but he wouldn't be arrested. He wouldn't be about to lose $1 million a year.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Here's the other thing: if you've got guys, let the
guys do it.
Let them get
Thank
arrested.
You. I have there are a couple of things I'll never understand. Number one, those guys are there because they're willing to take bumps because you're hooking them up, right?
Yes.
Like if you've got that much money and you got dudes, those dudes are there to go to jail for you in return for you letting them live this lifestyle off your dollar. And the other one I'll never understand professional athletes getting DUIs. I'll never understand it. Bro, I took an Uber home from a bar the other night. I wasn't drunk, but I was like, yeah, I probably had one too many. I Ubered from the far side of downtown Greenville all the way to Taylor's and then back the next day, like $40 worth of Ubers. But you know what? That's cheaper than about 14 years of paying for a DUI. I'll never understand how you could go if you're Alvin Kamara. Not that he did this. If let's just use random NFL running back. You're a random NFL running back and you're drunk in any city in America, and you're like, dude, I can't drive home. You could go up to 90% of the people in any bar. If I was in a bar and, I don't know, Saquon Barkley from the Giants. I'm not a Giants fan. I'm not a Barkley fan. If I heard that guy going, man, I really can't drive. I'm Saquon Barkley. I'd go, bro, backseat of the Jeep. Do you want the heater or the AC? I got you, dog. Like, just give me an autograph. People fall over backwards for this. I'll never understand it. Why AK felt if AK just lets his boys pop this dude, 2 or 3 of them are facing some jail time and some fines, probably a plea deal and getting off with whatever, restitution or whatever. Kamara might be on the hook for some medical bills, but he's not going to jail and he's not getting suspended six games from the NFL and potentially getting released from his multi-million-dollar contract with the Saints, which I think is ultimately what's going to happen. Don't be an idiot. And there have been court cases in the past that have found some of these professional athletes, when they get into a fight, their body's considered a deadly weapon because of how incredible shape they're in. Now, granted, Kamara only goes like 5'10", 215, but he's 5'10", 215, right? As Lonzo said, situational awareness, I promise. If I'm at a bar in Las Vegas during the Pro Bowl, when the biggest, baddest dudes in the NFL are there, and when I'm in a bar and a 5'10", 215 jack dudes talks trash to me, your friend's ugly. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah. Big Bill, you're ugly. Let's leave now. But all that being said, stupid decision. He's got to know better, and Chris ruins everything.
Sorry, I couldn't help.
Sorry, buddy. Appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for making it all better. Don't ever ask me how my teams do it again. You have lit my stadium on fire, made my coach retire, and got my Pro Bowl running back arrested. I appreciate it. All right, let's see some texts that have come in on the text line. You'll appreciate this one, Lonzo. Back to the beginning of the segment. Texter says, so, Rob, would you say your show is a steamer? Thanks, buddy. Texter says, Rob, think green energy. Texter says, hey, Mr. Liber Rob, burning coal isn't green, maybe battery through or solar or wind. Again, guys, it's a metaphor. We don't actually use a steam engine to run the show. Well, that I'm aware of. I don't know. Maybe we do. I don't think so.
The boards aren't that old.
Yeah.
I've been around long enough to work on steam-powered boards. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think ladies and gentlemen, welcome to third hour of the Rob Brown Show. Solar powering our way up till 3 o'clock. Doesn't really have the same rate.
Maybe I need to raise the blind back up then. Maybe.
Texter says, all right, help me where I'm missing this one. That must be why my wife says sex is like Star Trek.
Warp. Boom, you're there. Boom.
Dang it.
There we go.
That's a great text, and I'm too stupid to understand it. I apologize, Texter. You wasted a perfect text on me. A perfect text wasted because I'm an idiot.
Let's blame that one on Chris, too.
Bravo.
Why not? It's all Chris's fault.
Bravo. I blame everything on Chris. Texter says, a guy like Kamara has a responsibility not to fight because of the obvious. He's superhuman. Alcohol had to be involved, always is. I don't know if it was because the reports going on right now is that this happened Sunday morning. Here's the interesting part. It happened. Kamara then went and played in the Pro Bowl and then was questioned and arrested after the Pro Bowl. Now, the belief that I read this morning, there's
must not have punched him that hard then.
No.
He's able to tote the rock.
Well, I don't think he had any carries. I think he had like 4 catches for 28 yards or something like that.
But if your hand's sore, you're probably not going
Right.
to catch the ball.
The belief right now is, and I've got a defense attorney that I spoke with this morning about this. The assumption right now is that the reason that Kamara was able to go play in the Pro Bowl was the fact that the man that got beaten had to go to a hospital for like 10 hours of treatment. And the cops were like, well, we know where he's going to be and what he's doing. So let's let the guy and get his side of the story, get time to get the evidence, et cetera, to not issue an early arrest.
Once his face is functioning.
Basically.
Yeah, okay.
Basically. So basically they had to let it all play out and find out the details before they arrested the guy, before they arrested Kamara for it. So don't know if that's accurate or not. That's just the best thought that I have that I've heard so far. Texter says, in South Carolina, the legal term is lynching and is a felony. Assaulting as part of a mob, they can seriously hurt someone. Just bad judgment on Kamara's part. If he isn't charged with a felony, he's fortunate. Yeah, that's going to be the other part, right? Because there are options on the table here. Number one is he is charged with a felony, which from what I've read, he very, very well could be, maybe even likely is to be. And what's interesting about this, though, is even if he and the victim were to reach a settlement to where the victim doesn't come after him, he could still be charged for the assault and battery itself, right? Even if the victim was to say, hey, I'll take $2 million to go away and not press charges, the state still could.
And this happened inside of the hotel, right?
Inside a hotel.
So there's video.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they already have the video. And here's the other fun part. They went and talked to Kamara. And again, as the defense attorney I spoke with this morning told me, whether you have or haven't done a thing, if the cops say, can we talk? The answer is no. The answer is no. Because every word they are not there to just get your side of the story, be friendly, and find out what happened. They're building a case against you. From the moment they lay eyes on you, they're building a case against you. Kamara talked. Kamara told his side of the story. Here's the problem. From what the reports are, what Kamara told the cops happened does not match up with what the cops already had on video, and he did not know that yet. So now he could be hit with potentially lying. I don't know if it would be like obstructing justice or whatnot, but he could add charges on. And whoever is the defense attorney for Alvin Kamara has been pigeonholed bad, right? Bad. We'll see what happens. Either way, dude's probably not a saint anymore. Could you imagine being Dennis Allen, going through the interview, getting the job, and then finding out you're probably about to have to cut your Pro Bowler for somebody else to wait 3 weeks and go, we believe in second chances, and add him to the offense?
Yeah, because you're thinking on your way there, okay, I don't know who my quarterback is, but at least I got Kamara.
Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, yeah. I got AK and MT on the outside. I at least got that going for me. That should attract people. If you're a free agent quarterback, read Aaron Rodgers, and you're looking for a new place to play, having an Alvin Kamara as a weapon is a big selling point. They might not now, but this is bigger than football. Texter says, big fan of the new nickname, Liberob. Cool.
It's better than Snowflake, isn't it?
Why would you say that on air knowing what's about to happen, Lonzo? Why would you do that to me? You know the next text is just going to say Snowflake Rob. It's going to happen. It's going to be a thing.
Yeah, but you've been hearing that since you got here. I mean, that's kind of old.
Ugh. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate. All right. Be right back, stream.
Stream.
Perfect.
Music, media, and entertainment. Listen and follow What's in Your Glass, a presentation of Cadence 13 and Creative 7 with me, Carmelo Anthony. Now, for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is your Wendy's wake-up call.
What you're dealing with now is light compared to what it used to be. That's all I'm saying.
Like at the end of the day, it's not the biggest deal. It's not. Oh, no, I'm not going to say anything. It's not the biggest deal. But, come on.
Hey, everybody else is here. I'd like to carry more carbs at my shop, but I just don't have the room. Every time I go in the back to get wiper blades, I trip over a dusty crate of haunted air filters and bang my head on some GTO radiator hose.
So in the future, if I act like I don't want to do this, we just won't do this. Is that how that
No,
works?
absolutely not.
Okay.
The more you act like you don't want to do it, the more I want to do it.
Because right then you're just like, oh, we can move it. Knowing if we moved it, we wouldn't do it because we wouldn't have time.
Oh, no, I'd have come into the segment in 1 minute and been right back out. I'd have just gone, hey, thanks for listening. Be right back.
people don't like you, man. You know, it's not because people don't want to give you a chance. It's because you suck. You know?
My favorite segment of the week. Lonzo's favorite segment we do at all, period. It's time for Faces and Heels, where Lonzo and I take a look at some socially ambiguous situations and try to decide who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. I got a couple of really good ones this week. I'll start with this one, Zoe. This is a 33-year-old man. 33-year-old man. This 33-year-old man has a Lego Saturn V rocket. Now, as a space nerd, I've seen these, and they're like $180.
Yeah,
Legos.
anything Lego is very expensive. Just walk into the store and check out some. Yeah, it's
and it's decent size, right? It's about 5 feet tall. It's a big piece. He said it's. I worked on it together. He said worked on it with his dad. They put the whole thing together. So the other day, his girlfriend came over and brought one of her friends with her. So they were just hanging out, talking about it. The friend asked about the ship. He showed it off, whatever. And then later, the girlfriend came over and started rocking the ship back and forth, pretending like she was going to break it, right? Pretending like she was going to break it. He said, please stop. She said, come over here and make me, playful. He was like, I'm not playing, please stop. Well, she did the old fake out, like you used to do with a basketball, like you're going to hit somebody in the face. Except for Zoe, it slipped. They got hardwood floors. The Saturn V rocket hit the ground. Shattered. Okay. He said, you have two options. Number one, you can put it back together piece for piece by the book as it goes. Or number two, I can put it back together, but I'm going to bill you for the work hours that I have to put into this. Didn't threaten to break up with her. Didn't threaten to do any kick her out, kick her friend out, whatever. He said, you can put it back together piece by piece, or I can put it back together piece by piece, and I will bill you for the hours of my life I have to now put back into this model. Face it, heels on. So she said, I will not do that, and I will break up with you if you make me. It's just a toy.
She's the heel. Obviously, she's the heel. If she'd been dating him for any period of time, I mean, multiple dates, I'm guessing, then she knows how important that is to him, and the fact that he built it with his dad too. And yeah, it is a toy, but it's also, a memory. It's something that you spent time with someone else doing. And when you look at it, you can think fondly of, we don't know if his dad's still alive or not. I mean, this may have been the last thing they did together. And then she did this, and if she cares about him, she'll put it back together and realize the importance it is to him and how hard it was to put it together in the first place.
Yeah, she's got to be the heel, right? Like even if she didn't know the meaning behind it, even if she didn't know that him and Pops built this together, even if she didn't know, it's just a really expensive and time-consuming thing, right? Like really expensive and time-consuming. I suspect if dude went into her closet and ripped up a bunch of her clothes, she'd be ticked too, right? It's expensive and time-consuming to build all that. Yeah, you're absolutely the heel in this one. Absolutely. And he's right. Either rebuild it or pay me for the time to rebuild it, because it's not, those things take a long time to put together. Those 5 foot tall ones.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that he probably threw the instructions away at this point.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right, here's I like to do some about kids, right? Because this is where the parents versus the non-parents get into it a little bit. 25-year-old woman, 27-year-old man just recently welcomed a baby into the world, and they agreed that they didn't want any photos of their baby on the internet until the baby got, quote, older and could knowingly consent to it, end quote. Didn't want the baby pictures on the internet. So they went to a birthday party for another child. They brought the little baby. The mom of the young child whose birthday party it was running around taking pictures of the party. And in a couple of these pictures, the baby was in the background, either being held or sitting on the floor, whatever. She said, the woman said, I wrote the lady throwing the party The woman said, I wrote the lady throwing the party and said, we do not consent to our baby being on the internet. Please take down the pictures that our baby is in. Said the lady wrote back and said, I will not. Those are pictures of my child. Sorry that your child is in the background, but I'm not taking down the pictures of my child's birthday party because your baby is in the background. She said, I am considering legal ramifications to get these pictures removed as the baby has not given consent to being on the internet. Face or heels, though?
Well, obviously you can tell what political side these people are on, waiting for the child to give consent. I'm going to go with the person not wanting their pictures online as the heel because she saw them pictures being taken and things. And if you're at that person's house, then you know they had a propensity to post pictures. So unless you go to them ahead of time and say, hey, we don't want any pictures of our baby online. When you're taking pictures, please just make sure that our baby's not in there. Did she take those steps? If she did not, then that's on her. And that's too bad. And what legally could she do?
Dang, it's one. You did one earlier, though, too, that I didn't call out. So it's 1-1. Yeah, the baby's mom is absolutely here. I understand, right? My brother and his wife didn't want pictures of their baby on the internet either, which I totally understand, right? I don't care. Like, I get it. Granted, I want all you parents to know that nobody is like creeping the internet and stalking because all babies look the same. All babies look the same.
There are people creeping on the internet.
Yeah, that's true. Too. Yeah, but all babies look the same. Anyway,
no, there's some ugly babies out there. They don't look the same. They don't.
Can I be real? Most babies are ugly.
No, I wouldn't say most. I would not say most.
There
are some.
There's a lot. Like most babies are ugly. Anyway, the mom is absolutely the heel in this case, right? Like
the glass moved. Please.
Did it?
Please stop.
Crap. The mom's absolutely the heel in this case when it's all said and done, without a doubt, right? When I was on TV news back in the day, I can't tell you how many times I had the conversation where we'd be like in the park filming a story and somebody would come up and go, hey, I was in the background of that shot. You do not have my consent to use it. I don't need your consent to use it. You're in a public place, right? You're in a public place. Now, if I was using it for promotional purposes, then I would need your consent, right? If I was using that video to advertise something, then I need your consent. But if I'm just doing a public news piece or I'm just taking pictures or video or whatever, if you're in a public place, I don't need your consent. And I certainly don't need the consent of a baby. All right. So I understand the not wanting pictures of your baby on the internet. I get it. I understand it.
I am curious.
But keep your baby inside if that's the case.
At what point is the child able to give consent for their pictures? I mean, is there an age or is it vary according to intelligence of the child? I don't.
Question mark. All right, here's another one. My wife and I have been married for 5 years. We have a 3-year-old son. Yesterday, my wife had to go meet her mom immediately because her mom had fallen down the stairs and was admitted to the ER. My wife called a babysitter. Our usual babysitter was so busy, she shouldn't come. I told my wife I wasn't working. She said, all right, well, then you take care of the baby. She said she prepared a bowl of porridge for their son. I must be British or something. Well, no, I guess porridge is a Southern thing sometimes, right? I don't think I've ever had porridge. I just assume porridge is oatmeal.
I think there's like liver porridge or
really?
Something. Yeah,
I just always work under the assumption that porridge is
comes
oatmeal.
in like a sausage tube.
Oh, no, thank you.
If you feel it feels like Play-Doh.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm not a liver guy. Anyway, said she made some porridge and told me, the husband, do not feed my baby anything else apart from this. Period. Do not feed my baby. She said the words, my baby, anything but this. The wife left, went to the hospital. He said a couple of hours later, the 3-year-old was hungry, so I made him the porridge, and the baby would not eat the porridge. The 3-year-old, sorry, not baby. The 3-year-old would not eat the porridge, was spitting it out, refusing to eat it.
I don't blame you.
Still hungry. Yeah, exactly. He said, so I made the baby curry, or the child curry rice, which is delicious, by the way. I love a good curry.
That requires some effort, though. I mean,
this guy's a cook.
Okay, well,
even better.
There you go.
He claims he's a chef. He's a cook. Made the baby some curry rice. said the 3-year-old ate the hell up out the curry rice. Said, I mashed the rice, added curry without beans to prevent choking. He ate it without complaint. And for dinner, he asked for it again. So I made him some more curry rice. So the wife came home and was absolutely furious that I fed the baby something besides the porridge that she wanted him to eat. Has since then taken the baby to go back and spend time at the hospital with her mom because she now doesn't trust me to watch the baby because I gave him something other than the porridge that she wanted to eat. Face and heel.
Oh, the mom's a heel
Right,
for
yeah, this one's easy.
for a lot of reasons. One, not trusting the dad. Two, especially if he's a chef, unless she just doesn't like his food. And another reason, porridge. What is wrong with you? What kind of evil is that? I mean, stop it.
Yeah, the mom's a heel. I don't even think we got to spend a bunch of time on this one. I thought there might be a little controversy here because mommy knows best.
As someone who is dealing with a 3-year-old granddaughter right now who only wants to eat one certain thing and doesn't want to eat anything else, but then will eat a ton of other stuff. But what you want her to eat, she will not eat.
Yeah, of course.
It does. I mean, that's what kids do. They're testing boundaries and things like that. And again, it all comes down to it's porridge.
Yeah. You know what else it is? I don't know if you know this, lady, but dad's a parent too, right? Like but the fact that she said, you know what makes it the heel more than anything else? Fact that she said, my baby. No, it's y'all's baby. It's our baby. It's y'all's
I'd
baby.
be asking unless you know something that I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I need to get that paternity test going? I mean,
exactly. The fact that she dropped a my baby on the baby is what makes her the heel. Forget the porch. That's it. All right. One more. Oh, I love this one. He's a 29-year-old male, 27-year-old girlfriend. Said they have 2 kids, a 6-year-old male and a 6-year-old son and an 8-year-old daughter. Both kids are at school from 9 to 3. I work and provide for the family. My girl is a stay-at-home mom. Recently, I've gotten a little annoyed at my girlfriend because once the kids are at school, she doesn't really do anything around the house. She does a little bit of laundry. She does a little bit of cleaning, but she doesn't cook anything. She'll effectively make me a sandwich or a frozen meal for my lunch break every day. He apparently told the girlfriend, look, there are part-time jobs everywhere that you could work while the kids are at school from 9 to 3. So either get a part-time job or start actually putting food on the table, not just sandwiches and not just frozen meals. You lounge on the couch. So either get a job or actually put effort into taking care, because the kids are getting sandwiches and frozen meals too. Put effort into cooking meals for me and the kids, or go get a job from 9 to 3 when they're at school, or you can move out and we will break up. Face and heel.
He's the heel. And here's why. Before you move in with someone, before you have children, before you marry them, get to know them and find out if maybe they know how to cook or not, because it sounds like she doesn't know how to cook. So and if you force someone to cook and they don't know how, it's not a good thing. You end up with porridge. You don't want that to happen. And the other thing is, if she's taking care of the kids all the other times when they're not in school, that is some hard work. It's not easy work. I mean, he's the heel.
So lack of information that makes face and heel tough. What is the parenting situation when they're both not working, right? Like, does he get home from it now? That being said, if he's putting in an 8 to 5 and he's paying all the bills, then her job is stay-at-home mom, which is fine. It's a great job. It's a tough job. I'm not discrediting the job, but it is the job. If they're co-parenting when he's not at work but from 9 to 3, she's not a stay-at-home mom. From 9 to 3, she's not a stay-at-home mom because the kids ain't there. She ain't momming, right? Now, from 3 to 9, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she deserves the respect of that. But from 9 to 3, she's not a stay-at-home mom unless if she is parenting by herself from school out to school in the next day. If she's parenting by herself, then yes, 9 to 3, those are her hours to do with what she wants. But if they are co-parenting at night, right? He gets done with work and they are co-parenting, they are parenting together the rest of the night, then she's the heel. Now, if he gets home from work and he's like, nope, I'm done, you got this, he's the heel. But if she's only stay-at-home momming and they're co-parenting at night, she's absolutely the heel. Pitch in. That's part of that gig.
That just sounds to me like she can't cook.
That might be it too.
And you probably should have found that out.
That might be it too. First time she cooks dinner and he's, I regret my decisions. take a break, come back, wrap it up. We got one more segment and then Twitter trending topics to call it a day on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. We have a individual that just texted that they've lived here and just moved to Louisville, Kentucky. Said they are a longtime listener, but are watching the Facebook stream now. Say, I miss you all. I don't know how to cope with the lack of sports fandom for a large city. Louisville is over 1 million and not a top tier, and no top tier sports like a little old Greenville. So we got a listener. I don't know who it is. And if you're watching the Facebook stream, please check in and say hi. But somebody, Zoe, has taken us with them from Greenville to Louisville.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
I was going to say, I appreciate it too. I mean, yeah, it's, well, yeah. Because of that, all I'm making is frozen meals and sandwiches for lunch.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast. Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply. Every 4 years, the world's greatest athletes compete for gold. That time is now. The Winter Olympics are coming to NBC and 17 days of action, excitement, development, and history in the field. Don't miss a single epic moment. The Winter Olympics continues now on NBC.
We have a Prisma in the final break.
Prisma. Bill Murray. Oh, you sent me a new one.
Read the sign. That's what we call act like you've been there. No pomp, no circumstance. Do your job.
Just own it and walk.
Hand it to the ref and walk back to the huddle or whatever it is, whatever sport you're doing. Read Stevens' post on the stream.
Dexter says, how do the parents not know, or how do the parents know that the baby doesn't identify as an adult? You guys are messed up. Dexter says, the mother of the baby that can't give consent isn't a heel. She's a bleep. Nice. Dexter says, maybe the child had an allergy? I mean, again, unless the dad's just a crappy dad, right? And maybe the dad of Porge Baby just is a crappy dad and doesn't know how his kid operates, but giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's not a terrible parent. No, you're being an overbearing helicopter mom.
I mean, one way to look at it is that maybe she can't cook like he does, and now the kid is always going to want that kind of rice that he made. And then
no thanks, Mom. Dad's got dinner again. Of course, for me, that'd be a benefit. Be like, oh, I never have to cook again. Great. Texter says, Rob, I just moved to Louisville, Kentucky. 30 years in the GVL. Longtime listener, but I have to listen from Facebook now. I miss you all. How do I cope with the lack of sports fandom in a large city? Louisville is over 1 million people and no top-tier sports like a little old Greenville. Well, number one, you can stay connected to the sports scene here because not only do we stream every show at facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, and on the YouTube app, but you can also tell your Alexa or other smart device, play ESPN Upstate, and she will do that. She'll go, playing ESPN Upstate from Odyssey, and just immediately start playing, well, us. You can stay on top of everything that's happening. On top of that, I know that Louisville's got a soccer team. I believe they have a USL team, which is one level above League One. You should follow them. Louisville basketball is pretty good. You can get in on the Louisville basketball scene. I don't think you're terribly far from Kentucky if you want to watch a little Kentucky basketball. And, of course, you got the Derby. Horse racing is stupid, and I hate it, but other people seem to like it, so maybe try horse racing. That might be your thing. Otherwise, keep hanging out with us every day from noon to 3 or whatever time it is in Louisville, Kentucky.
It's still noon to
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's East Coast. We're all, yeah. It's
Louisville's Eastern time?
Yes.
Would you bet a paycheck on that?
Yes.
Louisville, Kentucky is Eastern time. You're correct. Well done. Well done. I had no idea. I couldn't have guessed.
Where's my family from, yo?
Couldn't have guessed.
Not Louisville, but they're from Kentucky. So
It's Louisville.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what people from Louisville have told me my whole career.
Say, how you know? You ain't been there.
Steven says, my son is in Cyprus, Greece, studying abroad, and he watched the segment I shared via Facebook. So technically, you guys are international. Yeah, we are. I know we've had a military member in Germany, an MP on a base in Germany that's listened to the show. One of my old dear friends from TV listens to us in Dublin, Ireland. So I know we're in Ireland. I know we have been listened to now in Iceland because I told my friends that went to the Phallological Museum that we talked about it, and they went back and listened and then streamed the show yesterday. So I know we've been listened to in Iceland now. We are, Lonzo, as international. We're like Pitbull. We're so international at this point. It's how we roll, son.
I'm tempted to yell, we're going to go old school, but I'm not going to do that.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. Twitter trending topics to wrap up the Tuesday. Rob Alonzo and you. It's ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
I knew that. Prisma Health here in the Upstate. Listen, if you are an athlete, it is an unfortunate inevitability that at some point you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. That's how sports work. It happens to all of us. And when you do, if you want to be able to keep functioning as an athlete at a high level, you need somebody there that has a couple of things. You need somebody there, first and foremost, that has availability. You need somebody that you know is going to be there when you need them the most to help take care of you. Somebody that is there that can help you be at your best, that can help you get back from injuries, bounce back from injuries, and get back in tip-top shape. You also need somebody that has expertise in those injuries. You need somebody who knows what you're going through, how it works, how to fix it. And that's why you need to be with our friends at Prisma Health. And South Carolina and Clemson both know that. Prisma Health is the official team physician for both Gamecocks and the Tigers athletic departments. When their basketball players have that hyperextended knee, when that football player has that sprained ankle, they both call Prisma Health. Prisma Health orthopedics know that hip and knee pain can make daily life difficult. And if you think that joint pain might be affecting your quality of life, you can go to prismahealth.org/orthopedics, prismahealth.org/orthopedics, and take a free quality of life assessment. And you can set up to talk with Prisma's orthopedic medicine and sports medicine experts. They've got 2 full-service walk-in orthopedic urgent care clinics for all sports injuries. So if you get busted up on the weekend, you are taken care of with and by our friends at Prisma Health. All right, let's look at what porridge actually is. Porridge.
I think there are different kinds of it. I got liver mush.
Commonly eaten as any dish made by heating or boiling ground, crushed, or chopped starchy plants, typically grain in milk or so it's oatmeal.
I think it's more like cream of wheat or
This is literally a bowl of oatmeal porridge. So it's basically anything where you ground up grain. Okay, I learned something about porridge today. How about that?
When I hear porridge, I just think of the three bears, and I think of Goldilocks and 3 bears.
Yeah.
And I
Texter
think of
called
Britain.
that lady Goldilocks porridge lady and then suggested she should have been eaten by bears.
I wonder what she's going to do when that kid goes to school.
Right? Send porridge every day.
Yeah, I saw you post that picture, Steven. That was really cool. And whether it's the Mount Olympus or not, he still can say he went to Mount Olympus,
Do you think the ancient Greeks, when they believed in Zeus living on top of Mount Olympus, was it a metaphorical top of Mount Olympus, or did they believe that you climbed to Mount Olympus, you would meet Zeus and just didn't do it?
I think that there really was a mount that they considered the Mount
They're
Olympus.
like right up there. He's just chilling.
There's
up
probably like always storms around it because of some sort of atmospheric thing. Yeah,
Stephen A. Smith said that if Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson played in a warmer city, he'd get over 2,000 yards. Why would that be a ridiculous comment?
they play in a dome. Don't
Yes, the Vikings play inside, Steven. I've made some mistakes on air. I acknowledge
they?
it.
Hey, maybe it's just because
Good Lord,
it's cold
Steve.
out. Sleep cold. I don't know.
That kind of cold that stays on your bones.
Yeah, well,
even
there
after
is
you warm
some.
up.
There is that kind of cold.
Golly.
He has said some things that he's had to go back and correct.
Quarterbacks named Joe, adding Joe Burrow to the mix, have made the Super Bowl a combined 9 times. There is only one name that has been to the quarterback or been as a quarterback in the Super Bowl more than Joe. Do you know what it is?
Jim.
Tom.
Yeah. Okay. Laugh it up. Whatever.
I told Lonzo coming into this, quarterbacks named Joe have started in the Super Bowl a combined 9 times. Bethune, Theismann, Unitas, Montana, now Burrow. There have been 9 times where a quarterback named Joe has started the Super Bowl. I asked Lonzo if he knew what name has started at quarterback more than the name Joe. And the answer is Tom. And Lonzo's eyes rolled all the way around in his head. Like they went up and then they came back up out the bottom. They rolled so hard. That was impressive.
Yes, I looked at my brain and tried to remove that last 10 seconds.
Let's get some Twitter in here.
Okay, let's do that. The first thing that's trending is Triple H.
I saw Triple H was trending earlier in the day. And I don't know if you're going to get to it, but I saw Batista was trending earlier in the day.
For the same thing. They're trending for the same thing.
Is it the picture?
Yes.
There's a picture going around of Evolution of Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair at a Knicks game.
It's a Celtics game,
Celtics game.
2004.
From 04. And they definitely look like they are from 2004. By the way, you know what I'd like to thank? I'd like to thank the fashion industry for stopping athletes from wearing suits that are shaped like refrigerator boxes like they used to do. Like the suits guys wear today is so much better than they wore back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, now they're just way too tight and well.
Yeah, but it's better than looking like they're wearing a sheet.
Well, those guys, it doesn't really matter, or it didn't really matter. All right, the next thing that's trending is let's go ahead and stick with wrestling. Samoa Joe.
Oh, Impact.
Well, some are also speculating.
Oh, we got a free agent signing coming in AEW.
There is some sort of stipulation in his contract when he was released that he doesn't have to wait 90 days. So there's a possibility that he ends up in AEW.
Bray or Samoa Joe? Who do you want to show up? You got to pick one.
If I got to pick one, I'm going to go with Bray. Samoa Joe. Healthy.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Ryan and Diesel are up next with Offside. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow to do the midweek edition on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.
Did you shut the stream off? I can, but I was asking if you could because I had other things. That, I got it. I got it. Diesel will just have to wait.
This is Sports Center.
He's not in here yet.
I'm Christine Lisi. Here's what's happening. CJ McCollum is on the move ahead of Thursday's NBA trade deadline. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports Portland's trading the veteran